This is a special public meeting for July 28th, 2026. I'm really sorry for the delay, but we have some technical difficulties. It seems like lately we've been having a few, but we'll get it together. Notice of this meeting, presiding officer of the council, Milady Tejeda, wishes to advise the audience that notice of this meeting has been filed with the Home News Tribune, the Star Ledger, and posted on the bulletin board in the city clerk's office and on the city's website, indicating that today's meeting is being held in the council chamber, City Hall, 260 High Street at 3 p.m. Right now is 3:20. Council President Tejeda, as a courtesy of the governing body, I will ask all individuals present, including members of the audience, to please turn off all cell phones and electronic devices. Should you need to make a telephone call, please go out into the hallway and speak in a low voice so as not to disturb the ongoing meeting. The sole purpose of this meeting is to conduct the departmental budget hearings and to consider 3 resolutions related to the home improvement program. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Cruz Batista,
Present.
Councilwoman Morales,
Present.
Councilwoman Peralta,
Present.
Councilman Puccio,
President.
Council President Tejeda.
Present. Let's stand for the invocation and the pledge of allegiance. Dear Lord, please watch over this governing body, over our city, over all our departments who are here today and those that are not present, but also all who plays part of making this city the way we function and the way we handle our business. I also want to pray for our troops that are abroad, for the troops that defend our freedom wherever they are at, and also for their family. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Agenda, public comment. Citizen may address the council on any matter on the agenda which does not have its own scheduled public hearing. Citizens shall be permitted to speak once for a maximum of 5 minutes. I need a motion to
Move.
open to the public.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Against? Anyone? Seeing none, I need a motion to close public comment.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, we're gonna start with the fire department, and our chief have been patiently waiting.
I think the BA might be leading into this.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay,
Then we'll
thank
go to
you.
me.
Okay.
Thank you. I just wanted to say a couple of brief words before we start the presentations. And thank you, Council President and members of the governing body. Appreciate your dedication to this, and to the department heads and residents for being here. Thank you as well, and good afternoon. Today marks another important step in the city's 2026 budget process. And that's, we began this 2 weeks ago here when we introduced it. As we talked about during the budget introduction on July 15th, a municipal budget is much more than a collection of numbers. It is the city's operating plan, it's our strategic investment plan, and ultimately a reflection of our priorities as a community. Every appropriation represents a deliberate decision about the services we provide, the infrastructures we maintain, the neighborhoods we protect, and the quality of life we strive to deliver for the residents of Perth Amboy. And this budget's no different. The 2026 budget is a product of months of careful analysis, collaboration, and difficult decisions involving every department in the organization. Throughout this process, one question guided every recommendation we made. How do we continue delivering high-quality municipal services our residents expect while ensuring Perth Amboy remains financially strong for the future? That question's answered in the municipal budget that was introduced, I believe, and it'll be further elaborated on today with the 5 largest departments that we're dealing with here. That'll show you a lot of what they're doing. Every department was challenged to evaluate its operations, identify efficiencies, justify expenditures, and ensure that every budget request reflected a genuine operational need and measurable value to our residents. The overwhelming majority of municipal spending directly supports the services residents depend on every day. Keeping neighborhoods safe, responding to emergencies, maintaining our streets and parks, collecting refuse and recycling, enforcing property maintenance standards, assisting seniors and families, improving recreation opportunities, and delivering the countless municipal services that often go unnoticed until they are needed. Today's presentations are an important part of that transparency. They provide the council and our residents with an opportunity to hear directly from our department directors about the services they provide, the accomplishments they achieved during the past year, the challenges they face, and how the proposed budget will allow them to continue serving our community effectively and efficiently. So this afternoon, you'll hear from 5 departments that represent the core of municipal services. Fire Department, protecting lives and property while responding to an increasing number of emergencies and continuing to modernize its equipment and operations. The Police Department, where significant investments continue in personnel, technology, proactive policing to enhance public safety. The Department of Code Enforcement, whose work protects neighborhood quality, public health, and supports the city's redevelopment efforts. The Department of Human Services, which delivers essential programs and services that improve the quality of life for residents of every age. And the Department of Public Works, whose employees work every day to maintain the infrastructure and essential services to keep our city functioning. Together, these departments represent the heart of municipal government. Their work touches every resident, every neighborhood, and every day. Before turning it over, I just want to express thanks to Mayor Kaba for his leadership here and direction and support throughout this whole process. And I'd also echo that with this council president and the members of the governing body for your partnership and thoughtful consideration of this budget so far. I also want to, make sure that I point out one other person in particular, Jill Goldie, our CFO. I know I said this at the introduction, but it bears repeating. She worked tirelessly on this budget, did incredible work, put so much time and dedication into it, and to show her dedication, she's actually on leave today, but she's sitting right here. So we appreciate her. I also want to thank our department directors and their staffs for the professionalism, dedication, commitment they bring to public service. Their efforts are reflected throughout this proposed budget. With that, I'll invite our first department director to begin today's presentation. And we have America's Chief Mullen.
Good evening, council. Thank you, Mr. Cryan, and good evening to the public, code directors and co-workers. But yeah, thank you for having us here this afternoon to go over our 2026 budget. As you're aware, our fire department year after year has been growing as the city has been growing, getting busier, and our statistics speak in line with the police department, in line with DPW, in line with human services and code enforcement for the amount of work that our employees do. So it's not the department heads that are out in the street normally doing all the hard labor, it's our employees. So we got to credit all the employees because it's a dedicated workforce like no other. And I will say for the fire department, because that's who I represent, dollar for dollar, pound for pound, you're getting 100-fold in your investment in public safety with the fire department. Our department, we have some slides just for example up there, but our primary responsibility is fire suppression and emergency response. We don't just respond to fires, which has gone up a significant amount every year, and we'll get into those details in just a few minutes, but we also respond to medical emergencies. If you're having a heart attack, going into cardiac arrest, a respiratory arrest, overdoses, traumas, there's a fire truck responding along with the police and along with EMS. Different about us and the police is if there is a cardiac arrest or some significant trauma, firefighters can come off the fire truck and staff in the back of the ambulance to do CPR, to do compressions, to hold, pressure for uncontrolled bleed to a trauma center. So our firefighters literally are in the back of the ambulance sometimes going to the hospital with the EMTs to save lives. So not only fires, but also medical emergencies. We also provide all rescue services. We're one of the only all hazards fire departments, I believe, in the county, if not the state. There's no other fire department in the state of New Jersey that offers the level of service we do for an 84-member department. We have the same services that the New York City Fire Department offers. So besides fire suppression, we have our Fire Prevention Bureau, which is logging over 6,000 inspections annually. So if we could reduce the risk of fire in these multiple dwellings, these commercial properties, these educational facilities, healthcare facilities from ever happening, that's the best case. However, fires will happen. So it's our job to make sure there's working smoke alarms, working CO alarms, working sprinkler systems. And prior to us taking over the Fire Prevention Bureau, they had limited staff under code enforcement. So what used to be 500-600 inspections annually, we're now doing about 6,000. So to put that into numbers, I can't tell you how many thousands of fires we might prevent every year by doing those inspections. But in line with the inspections, there's education. So we're educating all the property owners on, hey, this is a violation. We're not going to be here for another year, but make sure this doesn't happen throughout the year. So we're doing an educational session before the enforcement. And then last case would be a fine or a penalty, which is extremely rare. But we're enforcing the fire code to make sure the residents and the businesses are safe. Aside from that, we have the rescue services. Our special operations team is unlike none other in the county. We rival Elizabeth Fire Department, Newark Fire Department, Jersey City Fire Department, and those are 300-man, 600-man, 700-man departments. So we respond to building collapse, trench rescue, high-angle rescues, confined space rescues. The thing that we have that no one else in the state with those services have is a scuba dive rescue team. So just a few weeks ago, we were called to East Brunswick to assist in the recovery of a male that unfortunately drowned and passed away. But our divers, between the fire and the police officers that are trained, were able to go called throughout the county to provide that service, because not every town needs a dive team. But us showing the investment in that allows us to get the grant funding from FEMA. So we get the port security grants, we get the AFG grants, we get the SAFER grants because of all the services we offer. We also have our industrial firefighting. We have 2 terminals. We used to have 3 up until the one Buckeye closed down, but we have a foam tender, which we're working with the county right now to refill with basically green-friendly foam. So we have to respond to industrial fires, which is a whole nother level of firefighting that not many other fire departments in the state have to deal with. But we're very busy when it comes to fires and inspections. Another branch of what we do, and you see us all over social media, is our fire safety education. Whether it be preschool kids, elementary school kids, high school kids with the After the Fire program, or just generally with the public going to community events, and going with Isomar and Human Services, going to meet the seniors once a month here and there, doing barbecues with them to educate them in the importance of fire safety, to reduce that risk in their household. And at the end of the day, God forbid there be a fire, they know how to act immediately, get out to save themselves, save their family members, and then call 911 so we can respond accordingly. And like I said, we also have our annual open house that we run, always a high success, where we invite the community to our firehouse. So we're out there in an all hazards approach to prevent fires, respond to fires, and just keep the public safe. These are the numbers that have been growing every year, which to me are very alarming. However, our response to these fires is what is reassuring. So going up from 2024 to 2025, last year we had 184 fires that we responded to, with a total of 2,468 emergency incidents throughout the city. This year, through June 30th, through half a year, we've already responded to 108 fires, which puts us on pace for 216 fire responses this year alone. And our runs through June 30th projects us to be on pace for 27, 28 runs this year. So our calls and fires are increasing, but that's in line with a city that is growing, that is getting busier. The combating force to this is we're able to respond with an adequate sized fire department immediately to get to these fires with enough personnel to be able to handle them with what the shift is on duty. So what we call a multiple alarm fire is when we have to call in all of the towns to come help us out. Last year, we only had 2 multiple alarm fires. So 182 out of 184 fires we were able to handle just with Perth Amboy firefighters. So that's assuring to me, knowing we're getting there fast enough to minimize it to the area of origin with the personnel we have on duty. When it gets beyond that, we have to call additional towns in, additional overtime and whatnot. But as far as this year goes, I believe we've already had 3 multi-alarm fires through half the year. So it's a little concerning, but as the city grows, the demand for our services as well as all the other city services is going to increase, and we need the budget to support the operation to continue on. What we've accomplished so far this year and last year is we actually took delivery of our 2 new fire engines, Fire Engine 1 and Engine 2, a few weeks ago. They're actually going to be going in service later today because we had to get the computers programmed and the radios programmed. Thank you to the police department. But those engines, if you remember, and not everybody was on the council, I think in 2022 here, but we ordered those 2 engines in 2022. But when COVID hit, there was supply chain delays, and what used to take 10 months to deliver a fire truck took 49 and a half months, I think. So these engines that we just took in have full bumper to bumper warranty coverage for the next year, which is great for my budget. But unfortunately, through the first 6 months of the year, we've had significant breakdowns of the current engine 1, engine 2, truck 2, and rescue 1 because they were older and they were sort of due for replacement 3 years ago. So my operating budget is going sort of in the red right now. But unfortunate delays. Like, we thought we would have had these engines by 2023. Here they're coming in, getting in service today. So things to be proud of. Hey, we got a new engine that's going to serve the city great for the next 10 years, but it took 4 years to get to that point. In addition to that, our new ladder truck is going into production in November, which will be taking delivery in March of next year. So when it comes to operating budget for next year, the maintenance of my vehicles will be able to come down next year because 3 of the 4 frontline pieces will be brand new. In addition to that, special operations, we got our brand new support unit for Rescue 1. It's called Squad 6, but that unit is our support vehicle for special operations. So if Rescue 1 and the special operations team responds on duty to some type of rescue situation and we have to recall additional special operations members for a building collapse or for any situation, we now have additional vehicles that they could respond to with. Equipment and technology, the mayor I know is very big on technology, as well as everybody here. We just put in service 23 brand new thermal imaging cameras, and they've been around for decades and decades. But what we got, what I feel are the best ones on the market, they go into different modes that let us see different things when we're reading smoke and when we're looking for people and we're looking for hidden hotspots of fire. But through the capital improvement program, we were able to buy 23 of these thermal imaging cameras for about $40,000. So it's not a big chunk of change, but it gives us the cutting edge technology when we're going in to look for hidden pockets of fires or victims. But also, particularly for these cameras, when you see smoke, can you tell what the temperature of a smoke is? These cameras could read smoke. They'll tell you the different degrees of smokes with different colorizations, and it's going to save firefighter lives, because we might think, hey, that's cold smoke, 100 degrees, when this camera is going to show it's well into 500-600 degrees, ready to flash over. So it will save firefighter lives and also civilian life. So thank you for approving the capital like you do every year, but little pieces of technology. Also every year, we're being able, through the capital improvement projects, to purchase turnout gear. I think last year we bought 60 sets of turnout gear. They cost about $5,500 for 1 set of turnout gear, which you get about 5 years life out of. So every firefighter has 2 sets of turnout gear. The second, once it turns 5 years old, that becomes your backup set, because going into fires, you're riddled with carcinogens. You have to wash the turnout gear every single time you go into smoke. So that breaks down the gear a little quicker. But with the investment in purchasing that turnout gear as we need every year, we're keeping our firefighters safe. And through fire prevention, like I said, we completed about 6,000 fire inspections last year, and we're on pace to do just the same. And with the Fire Prevention Bureau, all the money generated through life hazard fees, which come from the state, non-life hazard fees, which come from us directly billing, the permits, and the code compliance fees, that directly funds the entire fire prevention operation. So all the ins for fire prevention equal the outs. So there's actually 0 tax dollars that goes to contribute to the Fire Prevention Bureau out of the municipal budget, because it's fee driven. That also gives me additional firefighters on during the day should there be a fire. So those that are working the Bureau during the day, if there's a fire, we put them onto overtime to be additional personnel during the day. So it benefits us greatly. And then, like I said, we've done a lot of community safety education, but most recently on July 4th, we were called America's Fire Department on Channel 7. So that's the bragging rights I have over the police department. I'll say it right now, because we always have friendly competition, but top that. So just like I said, and everything that we've been doing, our numbers are up for incidents, but thankful for the SAFER grant that we got a couple years. Our staffing was elevated to a number that is exactly what we needed for the city. Back in 2021, 2022, the DCA came in with local government services to do an evaluation of our fire department. They recommended us to get to an 88-man department. The first year we put in for a 16-man SAFER grant to get to 88. We did not get it. The second year we put in for a 12-man SAFER grant to get to 84. We got that, which was a $3.6 million grant. So we're still ultimately 4 overall positions short of where we would like to be. But 84 is a great number compared to what it used to be back in the day, which was as low as like 47, 48, which was just, I can't I responded in those days, but it was not a safe way to respond to emergencies. I already spoke about apparatus maintenance that, through this first 6 months, first 7 months of the year, we've had significant mechanical breakdowns. And I'm talking $10,000 bills, $20,000 bills, and my operating budget is really only $279,000. So I guess now is a good time to talk about that. For salaries, salaries is straightforward. Contractually, you have that. Our overtime is very minimal compared to most other similar cities that we're busier than. So every single dollar, as far as it comes to overtime, we need. Our operating budget is 279, which is all the other expenses. So that's apparatus maintenance, gear maintenance. We go up through about $20,000 a year with gear repairs, uniforms. An actual Nomex shirt now costs about $250. A pair of Nomex pants costs about $275. So one set of firefighter uniforms, which is 2 shirts, short sleeve, 2 long sleeve, and a pair of pants, you're approaching $1,500 for one firefighter. So year after year, we budget a little bit, but those firefighters that also work for the Bureau off duty, we use fire prevention money to buy their uniforms because we could multi-purpose that money. So we do save money there, but it just shows you how things have gotten expensive year after year. In addition, within our operating budget, we have a small amount of money for training, which is we have 84 members that we need to train regularly throughout the year, especially as new hires. And for basically supplies, it's all basically a maintenance budget to keep everything up and running that we need to go. And compared to last year, our budget is up about $254,000, if the slide is correct, which is a modest amount given contractual raises of a larger department than we had a few years ago. So I think it's 16 steps for a firefighter to get the top pay. Like after 10 years, they hit 1, and then after 16, they hit senior firefighter 2. So year after year, firefighters go up their steps. And then as time goes on, firefighters will retire. You'll lose the top salaries, and they'll be reset by the lower paid firefighters entry level. So, but the budget did not go up significantly at all. And I think, like I said, you're getting definitely your dollar's worth when it comes to the fire department, and actually all city departments here. Pretty much covered everything there. And operational needs for this year. As the BA spoke during his budget introduction, we did have 2 firefighters retire this year already, and I have another firefighter retiring on August 1st. So there's 3 vacancies that we definitely need to fill. So I'm looking to fill those for the fall. We'll do the EMT training as well as their fire training probably going in February or something like that. So the end of the year is when we would look to hire those 3 firefighters to maintain our 84 member department. In addition, something that sticks out is, we've been working at getting the land for our fire station 2 on the east side of the city, working with some other department heads and the business administrator and the mayor and everybody. Hopefully within the next few months, we're lining up all the properties necessary to acquire to then, move on that. So that we have the money already for the architect to do the design work, but we need the land first. So I'm hoping by the end of this year, we actually have all the property necessary for the new fire station 2. And that's going to greatly reduce our response times to the whole eastern side of the city, whether it be from the waterfront on High Street all the way up through Kinder Morgan on High Street and in Harbor Town. So, but like I said, you're definitely getting all of your money's worth when it comes to the fire department. So I might have talked longer than I was supposed to, but
That's okay.
if anybody has any questions,
No, anyone?
okay.
Anyone has a question for me? For the chief? Chief, thank you. I know that the amount of education that you give to the community is great. But I would like to ask a question, and just for information for the public, with the business inspection that happens, and I know sometimes they fail or they have something that they have to fix, and you give them like certain amount of time just for their information, more or less. What is that time frame that the fire department gives the business community to kind of comply with
Yes.
our fire?
Absolutely. When a fire inspector or the fire official goes out to do an inspection, the initial violation automatically generates a 30-day to fix. However, if you don't do it within 30 days, we might be back there within 60 days, or you could keep requesting extensions as long as it's reasonable. There's been times where up to 6 months before we have to take any type of enforcement action, which are few and far between. The times that we have to take enforcement, which are penalty, are the times when we go to the businesses, and it's usually the bars at night that have locked egress. They'll put a padlock up, which is a complete disaster waiting to happen, or they're smoking hookah indoors, which is a major fire hazard, in conjunction with blocking egress or overcrowding. So those are the times, the bars that we've been to repeatedly, where we have to hit them with monetary penalties. But as far as normal businesses and homes, we don't typically ever hit them with a penalty, and we work with them, and it's usually increments of 30 days, extensions, provided you're making progress on that property. And I will say, since we took it over in 2019-20, a lot of these properties are now, it's annual, so they're used to us. But there still are properties, in particular 3 and 4 families, that we're still getting to for the first time. So if a property owner sees us for the first time, they might feel overwhelmed because they've never had a fire inspection in 30 years. And they might have a significant amount, but we will work with them to give them as much time as needed. Stuff that might be, hey, this is going to cause a fire, we're going to address immediately. You would have 24 hours to fix that, but that's few and far between.
Thank you.
I have a question. So I know that you presented and stated all the amazing things that you guys do. And looking at the budget, there isn't a huge difference from last year versus this year. Do you feel as though there are any unmet needs maybe that we aren't addressing and that could affect public safety?
The only area that it becomes an issue every year would be like overtime. You know, we have $150,000 in an emergency overtime account that is used for recall. So if we're all tied up and we have to cover the city, there's an emergency recall to backfill an engine. And we also have regular staffing overtime, which is normally about 200,000, which was lower this year. So that's used for when people are out on military leave, sick leave, injury leave, vacation. It's not every day. It's when there's certain days where, oh my gosh, there's 7 people out today. We have to call in overtime to have a minimal number of 13 working to protect the city. So
Okay,
that's the only area.
okay.
Good.
Puccio?
Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Council President, just one quick thought. You know, public safety starts with a fire department and a police department who's coming up next. That's properly staffed, exceptionally trained, and equipped to respond whenever residents need assistance. Those are the important things, and those are the things that this budget answers, it gets us on the road to answering. Every investment in this department, fire department, and the next department, police department, is ultimately an investment in saving somebody's life
Exactly.
and protecting us. So, Chief Catano?
Yeah. Hello.
Is it working?
There we go. Good afternoon, City Council. How are you today?
Great.
All right. So we're going to go over a little bit. I'll introduce the staff. My name, of course, Larry Catano. I am Perth Amboy's Police Department. May not necessarily be America's Police Department, but here I'm Perth Amboy, and we're worried about Perth Amboy citizens. To my immediate left, I have Ms. Mary Bonilla, who is our Executive Assistant. And with us today, we have 2 of our 3 captains, Captain Mamna Tehran of our Operations Division, and Captain Paniotis Bodieros of our Investigative Division. The one other captain that's not here, she's on her day off, would be Captain Michelle McEwen, and she's also in the Operations Division. Okay. All right. So thank you for the honor of being able to present today and go over some of the things that we do here in the police department and see what we do with the money that you're so graciously allow us to have. So we'll begin with what we do. Patrol and emergency response. Many people may be familiar with the police department. It tells you how patrol is the backbone. Patrol is everything. That's the eyes, the ears, what you see every day out there. The marked police cars out there responding to the calls for service and so forth. And of course, we have many other divisions and many other things that we do. But with that, the officers, we'll go into the exact numbers and so forth later on, but clearly we've had an increased number of calls for service over the years. As we know, the city is expanding, department's expanding, those numbers do go up. So again, patrol is our backbone emergency response. Every time you call a police officer, that's who you'll get to respond. You may have others to respond also, but primarily that's who we are the most, and that's the most forward-facing in the face of the police department is patrol. Next is investigations. They are not necessarily the first ones to arrive. They're generally the investigators that respond and follow up for the crimes and so forth that may occur. They may very well be they're on the road, and they do respond. In our instance of our Special Victims Bureau or Juvenile Aid Bureau, they may be the initial ones to respond to a call for service in a school and interface with our youth and so forth. So that all encompasses the investigative division, who quite frankly, we're in a transformation. Captain Blairis has been there now a little over a year or so. We've been able to do a lot with that investigations division, and they're doing some really good work. Their police experience coupled with the technology that we have and we continue to grow every day is just increasing the amount of apprehensions and charges for criminal things that in the past, quite frankly, may not have been able to be done, and now are able to be done when we couple all of these things together and work more efficiently. So they've been doing some really great things that you've seen on social media that we've been able to do. Some of the crimes. I mean, again, we're not immune from crime. It's a city. It's a lot of people. You are going to have bad people do some bad things. As long as we're here to respond, minimize that, and charge those people appropriately for the things that they do, that's what we are asked to do, and that's what we've been doing, and will continue to do, and only continue to do better each and every day. Next is traffic safety. Okay, that could be responding to motor vehicle accidents, crashes, those types of things. We'll go over some specific numbers later on, but I know that I presented at one of the council meetings for the first quarter of this year alone with respect to traffic safety. And again, we approach safety as the education part of it. You know what we're dealing now with the e-bikes and so forth. We deal with the education part of it, and then when we have to, we'll deal with the enforcement side of things. But for the first quarter alone of this year, we have addressed and issued 706 parking violations for double parkers, which I know we hear about it all the time. We hear about it from the residents and so forth at the meetings about those things. 531 improper driving. That could be speeding, could be careless driving, could be inattentive driving. And at that point in time, again, beginning of the year, not too many loud musics or windows open that you hear them, but additional 70 summonses issued for quality of life violations. And again, that's just the first quarter of this year. Then, of course, you move on to our community services side, or community policing. Obviously, the DARE program we've reinstituted over the last couple of years, and we're getting more and more students into that. I mentioned before, e-bikes, obviously, that's a big concern now. We've been dealing with that in the schools, outside of the schools, and anywhere we can. Any of the community outreach that we've gone to, which has been tremendous amount of increase in the community outreach that we've done, and visiting schools and the like for that. One of the other things that we do is we've just recently rolled out a skimmer. I'm sure many of you heard for the credit card machines, how people put those devices in it to read your credit card and so forth. To my knowledge, we're the only department in the county that's actually invested in a skimmer detection device. So we actually go out and proactively approach businesses with our community services unit and our UEZ patrol, and go out and approach the business, say, hey, we have this thing that we'd like to go through your devices if you like. And of course, everybody invites us in to do that. And we go and assess their devices to make sure that there's none of those skimming devices and so forth there. So that's just an added piece that we do and go forward for our businesses to help them out. And that's everything from a gas station to bodega. If they have anything that would have these electronic devices for collecting money, we go through that. So that's just something else that we do that many others do not. And of course, as the culmination of everything for us with community policing, as we know, is our world-renowned National Night Out, which is in another 7 days. So please mark your calendars. That we'd like to have everybody. It's Thomas Mundy Peterson Park down the street. First time we're doing it over there, as we like to try to hit different neighborhoods around the city and spread the wealth, if you will. But that is certainly an event that, as you know, draws thousands of people from all around. So we'll be joined again this year by our sitting county prosecutor. She'll be there also, as well as many other departments and so forth to be there and celebrate with us our connection to the community. Training and readiness. Just today alone, we've had a active shooter incident management training. It's a new required training that requires a very small percentage of our department to be trained this year. We're going further than that. We're more than quadrupling the amount of people that need to be trained in that, just so we have that. And that is for, God forbid, the unfortunate incident if there were an active shooter anywhere, whether it be in a school or a workplace or what have you. And the officers are all trained into this to manage these incidents, and our supervisors and so forth. So just today we're receiving training in that. So our training has gone up exponentially. And as much as we can to be fiscally responsible, we do that in-house. We train our own responders. Exactly. We train our own trainers to do that because many things. If many times of these trainings are given in other locations, it's given Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 during the day. Well, obviously, we're a 24-hour operation. So if we have someone that's working midnights, now that requires overtime to bring them down if that's for that training and so forth. So we take the approach of, let's get an instructor on board of our own, send them to school, and we may have to pay a couple bucks for that school, but now they are trained and they can bring that information, that knowledge back to our individuals at our pace, at our time, and when we can do it. So we're not held hostage to anybody else's training schedule. It's done for us in-house. And of course, if any of that other training can be brought out to any other departments, we do that also, meaning our city departments. But that's one thing that we always take advantage of, to try to keep those training costs down and do it more in-house, just like we try to do everything that we can in-house, our own mechanics, fix our own cars, those types of things, to keep those costs down. As we all know, of course, the training is key. Anything we do, we revert back to our training. That's why we need to continue the training that way that we do and bring it further on. And then, of course, specialized responses. That particular unit, our special services unit, is headed by Lieutenant Sulikowski, and that is for our Homeland Security. That is, we have our OEM liaison there, and then also our boats and those types of things, and other electronic technology that we have, our drones that are out there, those types of things. That's all falls under the specialized services, and that continues to grow each and every day. And I get calls regularly or at different meetings around the county, around the state, asking about our programs and what we do and things that we can do that others are looking to get into that we've already done or have been doing. So we serve as a model for that. Okay. Next, a little bit by the numbers. Calls for service. As you see, for 2025, we experienced 61,925 calls, and we're projecting, based on the amount of calls that we have had already, we're extrapolating that data, where we're looking at about an 18.5% increase, or 73,438 calls for service for the police department. For the amount of officers that we have, on the street, it's a lot of work. I mean, it's hundreds of jobs a day that they're going on. Motor vehicle crashes, you see that's projected to be an increase of 12.5%. Proactively, as we've spoken about with traffic safety and education, those are things we're trying to do to keep those numbers down. We know that they do increase a little bit during the summer. More people drive a little faster, more people out there, more pedestrians. So that's what we're hoping to be able to keep those numbers down. And quite frankly, we do have a good number of e-bike accidents too that may start dissipating now with the education and these bikes taken off the road that are not safe or not appropriate or not legal that are on the roadways.
How do you come up with this? It might be a silly question, but how do you come up with that percentage?
What we do is take the data from last year
Mm-hmm.
and we see what our averages are for the month. So in other words, what we had last year in January, what it is this year, and we extrapolate that data out to say, if we stay at the current pace, this is what we'd be looking at.
Okay.
And we don't have any reason to believe that we would drop below that, because every year we increase with that.
Okay.
So that's where that data is taken from there. Mental health calls, that of course, as you know, is a situation that we have in the city, and everyone has, all the municipalities are dealing with that. And we do still employ, and we are the only department definitely in the county, and definitely the Tri-County area, that has the on-call mental health provider that we do. and that is at zero cost to our taxpayers. That's still working on that grant that we have. We just asked for an additional extension because we have some money left over in there. We had a little difficult time getting a second clinician, and that's just because of the industry. They don't have a lot of clinicians out there. So where our initial model called for 2, we've been working at 1 for a while, trying to get that second on board. So that will allow us to extend into another year of that program. The money was already approved, so we believe we'll be successful in asking for that extension, but that will carry us through September of 2027. And we, of course, will be looking to renew that and apply for those grants again and so forth. So at $0, we're able to put a clinician at a minimum of 8 hours a day out on the street with the police officers, responding with the police officers, doing the follow-up. And that situation, that model has worked very well for us. And we continue.
More or less, how does that program work? You know, that follow-up?
Sure.
Is it, after the incident or whatever happens, what happens after that?
The co-responder has a police radio, so she's on a radio the whole time. They'll hear an officer get dispatched to some sort of mental health crisis or that type of thing. They immediately get on there responding. They respond in their own vehicle, and they respond with the officers. They arrive. At that point in time, the officers do an assessment. Do we have something that may put you in danger? Do we have somebody actively engaging in hurting someone or throwing things? It's not a safe scene. The officers would engage along with the mental health professional behind them. If it's a stabilized scene and the officer stays with them, the mental health clinician goes in with them and will engage in dialogue and so forth. We also respond in ambulance to go there. And then that mental health clinician establishes what's going on and makes determinations at this point. This person really needs to go to the hospital. It's a recommendation, or it's clinically required that this person, because there's a danger to themselves or others, needs to go to the hospital. And then we would go on from there, from bringing the person and so forth to the hospital. That clinician follows through, goes to the hospital, communicates with the mental health professionals there at the hospital, and is able to, on that level of clinical side, give that information. So it's not just a police officer, if you will, dropping someone off at the hospital and saying, oh yeah, he's here for crisis. No, they are able to actually break it down. They are exhibiting signs of this, that, and give a medical picture, paint a medical picture to that clinician so that they get the appropriate care and the right care. So that's worked out really well for us. So we'll take that past that individual. Now they receive training, they receive treatment at the hospital. The next day, the clinician will follow up. Is that person still there? What do they need and so forth? If they were released, they will make a phone call to them or go visit their residence to ensure how are things going? What can we do? Here's a list of services for you, or anything that may happen. Work very closely with the Office on Aging and with Diane Roman and so forth. Anything that may be needed, any particular, whether it be substance abuse issues, they have that whole cadre available to them, and they would introduce the individuals to that service, even if they don't go to the hospital. Even if it's an on-scene, we're okay, they refuse, they're okay, they will advise all of those things that are available to them. And they do that subsequent follow-up. If it happens on off hours and that individual is not available, in the morning when they come in, they go through our computer-aided dispatch system, and they'll look to see how many calls for service there were. Oh, that's John Smith. I've dealt with John Smith before. Let me give him a call or her a call, and let's go through this and see what it is. So they follow up even if they're not there. Whether they be overdose incidents, any other kind of incidents, they follow up on that. And then there's also the ability for officers, if they respond to a call for something else, they may respond to a hang-up 911 call. And they get there, and maybe there's a condition where there's an elderly person at home that may not be able to care for themselves how they did before. They can do follow-up, and they would. There's a little report we have that would go with a requesting follow-up by the clinician for that.
Is
So
there
there's been-
specific in-house training for the officers to be able to collaborate with the clinician? Are there certain officers, or is it open to all?
We have, they do training with us. We have annual training, and they do a block of instruction. Plus they also come into our, we call musters. Every shift has a muster. So there may be a particular event that's going on, or let's say there's a particular type of drug that's out there that's causing some sort of type of response that may induce psychosis or this. They would come and they would do the trainings to the individual officers out there. On top of that, we also have CIT officers, critical incident trained officers, and that's something that we have to get on a state level. And we don't have an instructor for that. only because they don't allow us to. It has to be a state level instructor, otherwise we would. And we avail our officers to that training, besides other crisis training and hostage negotiation training also. We have all of those types of training that we send our officers to. And then next, I guess out of anything, I'd have to say that I hope that this only can double the amount, because this is our decrease, and that is of domestic violence calls. Unfortunately, we are plagued as as the most domestic violence calls in the county for any police department that we are faced with here in Perth Amboy. So I am glad to see that that number is down. I hope that that may be because of outreach, because of people assisting or understanding issues and understanding services that may be available to them, and they may be disengaging from that event so that it doesn't happen. And I hope that that number continues to decrease. But I think it was important to know that. And I don't know what that credit is. I don't know where to credit that negative 2.8%, but I'm glad it's there, and I only hope that it doubles or triples to decrease. But I think it was an important point to point out to you of the calls for service that we do, because that is something that is very, near and dear to a lot of us. Okay. Okay. Things what we've accomplished. Again, training and efficiency to technology and efficiency. I just can't say enough. I know I'm always here talking about the technology, and I can cap it by saying that everything that we have and that we've acquired is for a reason, and it really has helped us in one way or another. Whether it be for a criminal case, whether it be for a missing persons case, whether it be for a pedestrian or a hit and run, pedestrian truck, any of those things, we have all seen where that technology has put us much further than we would have been in cases that we would not have solved. I mean, on the captain side, the investigative side of things, I think you can attest to that.
Yeah,
Cliff.
100%. Yeah, obviously, with technology makes things easier. Obviously, you still need the detective to do the detective work.
Can you get like the mic that is behind you, maybe? Maybe.
Better,
Thank you. It's for the public.
for sure. Definitely, like I said, it's, you still need good detectives, and they, of course, and I always try to give them a shout out when I can. I feel like we have the best detectives out. They're amazing. But technology does do that, whether it's getting, and what I've seen in my experience now being in charge of the investigative division is that stuff that either they would have missed or it would have taken them a lot longer to acquire, technology just brings some evidence to you quicker, and I can't talk specifically about cases, but honestly, when you take a real talented detective and then you give them these very specific tools, yeah, you're bringing cases together that, probably there's little pieces of evidence you probably wouldn't have been able to get, actually. So.
And the tool is only going to be as good as the user can.
100%. Like, obviously, you still need the tenacious detective that, and again, I can't say much about Chief knows, because I'm obviously, when we're off and we're not working, everybody's sleeping, he's always getting updates from me from these kids getting called in. Call them kids because most of them are younger than me. These detectives will be out there, overnight working a case till they can't, till they're done working it, till there's nothing left for them to investigate. And again, with the tools at their hands, they're doing amazing stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Officer safety and wellness, and I'll just speak a little bit about this. We are the protectors. We're always out there protecting everybody. But, another thing, and unfortunately it's been coming to light more and more lately, is someone needs to protect the protectors. We need to protect ourselves from things that we see, the decades of things that we've seen, and those types of things takes a toll, and it does. And things were looked at differently many years ago. Retired Detective Puccio, I'm sure, can attest to that was not something he ever talked about, and that was just, it's different now. And on a good side, that it's different because it's being recognized. And part of that rollout is the officer wellness, whether that be the gym that we have downstairs for the officers, or it be the ability for officers to talk to each other. We've also, in technology, and we know that we have younger officers that know about AI and get into all of those things. We've rolled out a program, a wellness program that is computer related. Basically, you chat into it, you talk into it, it gives you some responses, whether it be for nutrition, whether it be for workouts, all of those things for officer wellness and of course our employee assistance program, all of those things to offer that to officers. We have resiliency officers in the department. So if somebody's having a tough time, they can go to that officer, and it is um, um, confidential that they speak, as long as they're divulging a crime or any of those types, and that they can speak to those officers and get some response. And then those officers are also part of a network for around the state. So if you don't want to talk to an officer, let's say, because you don't feel right, you can call another department officer from another department. Our officer from our department can be called by another officer. I myself just recently went through the resiliency program training for chiefs, and there's about 12 of us statewide that are resiliency chiefs. And because, not that anything's better, but it's just a different job from a patrol officer to command level person. And it's just to understand those different types of challenges that you're faced with at different levels of command. So it's being seen all the way through, and we know how important that is from the officer level up into the administrator level to be able to engage with people in that and take care of our own, as well as we take care of everyone else.
Do you feel, and this is just in general, that the communication of those young officers are using that kind of program or understanding, like to go to another officer to speak what they feel and what they're going through? Do you feel that it's being used regularly, or is rarely used by our young officers?
Well, being that
Because-
the entire program is basically, I don't want to say secret, but it's non-disclosable. So they're not able to tell us, hey, I got 10 calls this week, I got 10 calls.
Oh.
So we don't get disclosed those numbers. But I do believe it is. Maybe not to the level that it needs to be, but certainly over what it used to be, years ago. I think one of the other things too is the engaging of people, and whether it be by text, and there's not a lot of the communication and so forth of the younger generations. We know a lot of it's done by texting or emailing or what have you. So or other social medias. So that is also one way that it is reached out there. The other thing too is the unions have grasped this. So where they may be afraid that it's it's the administration or my bosses are going to know about this, or that they've also reached out on their union level so that they know that it's more of a peer-to-peer type of thing. So I believe it's only going to increase, and I believe it should be increasing, and it has increased more than in previous years.
And it's not just picking on the young officers, but the thing is, once you start a new profession or a new career, you might have the need to have that support. And that's why I mentioned that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Training and equipment, again, we spoke a little about training as far as equipment. Not only on the technology side of things, we have many other devices and equipment for the less lethal. Things that, if situations were to escalate, we don't want to result to lethal means. We have other tools available to us that no other departments do in the county, immediately available out to the officers that are there. So it is so important for us. Any type of equipment that's out there that can help us do our job and do it safer and also more safe for the public, we are moving towards doing that by all means. And that we have a commitment to do that, to de-escalate as much as possible and cause as least harm as possible, and to get the result that we need for the safety.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions. I see your education and training, it did go up significantly, a lot. I mean, it pretty much more double. So this is going towards more to your increased training, as you say.
That, and then also understand, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Oh, that, and also understand that the amount of officers we're hiring is more than we did last year. So that goes towards the hiring. We have to train the officers when we hire them, and that includes their medical, their psychological, their physical, all of that. All of those fees are in there. So that's also why that would increase.
Okay, yeah, because it doubled, more than doubled, but that was going to be my question, but you explained
Yes,
it.
that was more because we've more than doubled the amount of officers that we were able to get last
Okay.
year.
Thank you.
Patrol modernization, again, anything possible that we get that we can do, we do. Recruitment, we know this has been an issue nationwide for recruiting police officers. I'm very happy to say that the mayor was able to approve these 11 officers, if, you know, in the budget, if that's able to go through. That is something that we had not seen those numbers in quite some time. We've been trying for them, and we're getting the 4, the 5, you know, because we just did not have that available to us. But fortunately, hopefully that pendulum's swinging back again, and we're going to get more people interested in becoming a police
How
officer.
many total police officers do we have now?
Right now, it's 124. If we're able to add the 11, we'll be at 135.
Okay, I know we had you at to
One f-
145.
145 is the authorized limit, yes.
So,
So,
okay.
yes, we've been trying to, and I've been saying this for years, if there's a time when we don't put people in, it's difficult to catch up. I really don't like putting classes of 11 people through, but we need the numbers and we need to increase with that. It's better to just continue every class to put some in so that we continue, once we get to that number, to maintain that number. But once we skip a class or two, which had been done in prior administrations, when we skip those classes, it's so difficult to catch up, to be able to
I'm
get those
sorry,
numbers.
Rose, you mentioned that it's double, but I think it's only,
As of May, they've used that total. So
is
that's what it was.
this what it was? And it's 107, so that's more like,
Well, this
No.
was the actual from last year.
no,
No.
this year.
Yeah.
The 20.
This is
Right?
up
We're looking at this
to-
correctly?
Mr. Klein?
We're doing it right now.
I just wanted to see where you got that it was double. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. So again, we're really trying on the recruitment side to be able to get these new officers on. And then, of course, our partnerships, as we mentioned with the investigative division, we have great relationships and are only building our relationships with our different departments around the county, around the state, and federal partners, FBI, DEA, those types of partners we've been able to work with and work with other municipalities. And they, on very many occasions, are requesting our officers to help them in different operations and so forth. And that just shows how because we're able to do what we can do, they're requesting our assistance all around the state for that matter. Okay. What's changing? Okay, it's the same again. Calls for services we talked about. We went over that. Traffic response, talked about that. Department currently has 124 officers, spoke about that, and then bringing the staffing up to 135. Special officers and auxiliaries, we always look to bring that on board. We know what a great program that is for the auxiliaries. We're able to double the amount of auxiliaries recently. We're able to graduate another good class of auxiliaries. So we're up to 9, where last year we had 4. So we're able to do that. And then we've also increased our special ones. We're up to 11 special one officers. And that's just, again, a force multiplier, by all means. Okay. Now, when it gets down to the actual dollars and cents, as you see here, we're able to actually do a 1.4% decrease overall in our budget. I understand how important it is to be fiscally responsible and balance that with services to the community. So in doing everything we can, and as I mentioned with those things, using our own instructors, doing things we can, doing things in-house, and so forth, we're able to reduce that number. So you'll see that both on the salaries and wages side. And on that thing, well, how do you decrease salaries and wages when, of course, contractually they go up? We have been able to avail ourselves, because we're able to get the amount of officers that we need with this. We're able to now charge our grant that we received, a couple $1 million grant a couple of years ago. We were not able to fully charge because we didn't have the minimum number of officers that we needed. Now that we do, we can do that and charge that on the salaries and wages sides of things. So that's why we're able to see a decrease in that also. So again, overall, we're able to deliver that with what we have in place. Okay. And of course, keep budget drivers, personnel and staffing, that's out of our control, obviously. We'd look to keep those numbers up, but they obviously contracts, training and equipment, technology, and contractual operating costs. Many things that we do are contractually obligated to increase, as we all know. Gas goes up, electric goes up, everything goes up. So some of those things are outside of our control, but what we can do to help that, we do, to still continue being fiscally responsible. Operational needs, 124 current officers, 135. We would like to be able to get to that number by the next time we're sitting here next year. We'd like to be able to increase the number and get to that 145, because we still have some of that federal funding left, and be able to assist there and get to those numbers to be able to staff many of the positions and so forth that we are doubling up on now and be able to get them going. This also calls for, as you're aware, anytime possible that we can get an officer out of the building to the street, we do. We've civilianized some positions. We've had a couple of civilians retire recently, which would be looking to replace those civilians, obviously at a lower cost because they were, with time on the job, they'd be higher cost then than what new people would be coming in. But that will allow us to also continue to transfer some of those duties that officers do to the civilian staff to become more prudent financially. Recruitment and retention, training officer safety, we do that, and that's paramount for us. And efficiency, it's always that don't work smarter, not harder, and so forth. We're kind of doing both, make them work. Looking ahead, as in there, as a 145 is our officers as a long-term goal, and recruitment and retention. We've done really well. We've gone to a lot of these recruiting events, and a lot of people see what we have, available to us, and technology and hiring. It seems officers are, and when they were interviewed, new officers, 95% of the officers that decided on a destination to go to or a place to get employed was based on their available technology and what was done and how progressive the departments were. Because now they can become marketing, they can go wherever, kind of wherever they want. They actually look to what the departments do and how they, and equipment and so forth that they have. So I think that's also why we've been able to acquire so many more people than we have in the past. Training and wellness, equipment, fleet. Again, thank you with the cars that we get on a regular basis from you. We certainly need them. We just took delivery the other 4 days ago of another 3 police cars. They're going out to get upfitted, and we'll be able to get them in service. Unfortunately, we did lose a couple to accidents. That generally once a police car gets in an accident, they normally total them, so they need to be a total replacement. So we're working on those long-term needs there. But again, just like personnel, if we continue to buy cars every year, they're going to be there, and they're not going to be. And that's also why in the decreases that we're able to do, we're able to deliver a decrease in vehicle repairs because our fleet's getting a little newer, and we're not having to replace those motors and do everything else that we've done in the past. We've been able to just keep up now more on the rolling stock. So. And then considerations, of course, call volume we know is going, officer staffing, retirements. We do have about 3 or 4 retirements coming up this year that are already planned, recruitments, and fleet and equipment. So I apologize. I know it took a little bit longer, but I think it was important to explain some of the things that we do that may not be immediately apparent, and call your attention to anything we can. I'm certainly here to be able to hopefully answer any questions, and if I can, of course, I have the captains and my left hand here. So.
I have a small question. So I know that you said that you do go to recruiting events. Is there anything in the budget for recruiting? So I didn't see that for recruiting and retention.
We do not have a specific line item for that. What we normally do is we've developed in-house along with the mayor's office. We've developed flyers and videos. And what we've done is basically we print those flyers out on our printers at headquarters, and then we have them bring them out to the officers. And the video, we have a display and so forth at the different events that we do. So it's kind of, again, trying to keep the cost down. We do it in-house to get it
So it's
as
just
much.
flyers and presentations being.
And social media, and right, and we have like the video we have a long video, then we have the short ones for Instagram or Snap, those type of little things, and then we have longer ones.
Okay.
Council President?
You have?
No, I don't have any questions. I was sitting here thinking, and I was looking at the 2 captains, realizing when you talk about DARE, there's 2 of them that were original DARE students right there, and today they're captains in the police, or one of them is a councilwoman.
Dr. Puccio was my DARE instructor.
Same here.
No, but I'm
So it's
just
your
saying
fault.
that in back then that was the only public relations thing going on, and to see you 2 guys sitting there, and I was just thinking to myself that and Councilwoman Peralta, who was also a DARE student, has come a long way, and I'm just saying I'm proud of you 2 guys, and I'm proud of her. So. I was paying attention the whole time up there.
You should.
I thought the presentation was pretty good. I mean, that's just the way it is, just like the fire chiefs.
Yes. Thank
I'm
you.
good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just-
At least it tells you that I'm too old to be your DARE student, so.
Yes, but I remember you in a baby carriage.
Okay.
Yeah. And your dad, who was a detective,
Yes.
who gave back to the community. He was a Pop Warner football coach.
And my grandfather was DPW. So,
And the equipment manager for the Pop Warner.
that's right.
team.
equipment, yes.
And Detective Puccio was also my partner.
Hmm.
I first came
Wow.
to Detective Bureau, so.
Full circle.
And you were tenacious.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, Chief.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very much.
much.
Have a good
Great
day.
presentation.
Yes, great presentation and fiscally responsive budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Was that?
all the work you do every day.
Yes,
Thank you.
for both departments.
go ahead.
Both
At the next
departments.
one.
Chief Mullen, your department also.
Council President.
Uh-huh.
So and thank you, Chief. The next department we have up is the Department of Code Enforcement with their Director of Code Enforcement, Irving Lozado. Code enforcement plays a critical role in both protecting the quality of life in our neighborhoods and supporting Perth Amboy's continued economic growth. Every day, the department balances two equally important responsibilities: ensuring our community remains safe, clean, and well-maintained, while facilitating the responsible development that is expanding our tax base and strengthening the city's long-term financial future. Past year has been one of the department's busiest and most productive.
Thank you.
Can we just wait for Mr. Butcher to come back?
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
So I just gave you a department structure. We have it
Thanks.
on the pamphlet. We have it here, but I want to give you by detail.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I love this. I never. Thank you for this, because I never know.
Right.
No.
Who to call?
Yeah, that, and I never know the layout or where anyone
So
falls.
that's
in.
why I wanted to put it like,
This is a great,
Yeah, I
every
like the. I
department.
like this.
yeah.
I know for the larger departments, it's a lot more
yeah,
difficult.
I like
yeah.
the police department
Yeah.
would be a little more
You might need
complicated.
like 5 pages for
Yeah.
the police department. Yeah.
But this, we appreciate.
Wow.
I hope Mr. Butcher doesn't stop talking.
No, he is.
My
I
twin
think I heard his
exercise.
voice.
I'm not sure, Council President, I'm not sure he knows that we're
Mr.
waiting.
Puccio.
I know he,
I don't think he could hear you.
Oh,
Oh. Oh.
a dare picture.
Reunion.
Ms. Vasquez, you were not a dare student? Oh, he didn't mention
You remember that.
Oh, I didn't mean you guys to wait for me.
it. We have to.
Oh. Okay. They wanted my picture too, so.
All right.
All right. So, Council President, council members, thank you for this opportunity. And, this is very straightforward. I don't know if Councilman Puccio got one of this. Did he get one of these? Yeah, perfect. So what do we do? So code enforcement. Housing department, we in charge of property maintenance inspections, complaint investigation, violations, summonses, and compliance. Oh, sorry.
Okay, that's good.
Yes. So I'm gonna repeat myself, right? So code enforcement and housing department. What do we do? Property maintenance inspections, complaint investigation, violation, summonses, and compliance. We have the zoning department, development review, zoning permits, inspection, complaints, and guidance for residents and businesses. Uniform Construction Code, UCC, the review permits and construction permits, inspection, state construction, and code compliance. So I passed the organization chart for the department structure. you'll be able to see every one position. The code enforcement housing, we have the supervisor, Erica Jones, and we have 4 inspectors. So right now, we have a vacancy on for one other housing inspector. Hopefully, we could fill that out soon.
Is that because of qualifications or no one's applied or
So,
you don't really
well,
need it?
someone resigned, and we were going through the process of the budget, so we had to wait for that
Okay,
and to be able to start the interview process.
okay.
Yes. The Uniform Construction Code, we have 4 subcodes, which is um, we have the fire subcode, the building subcode, plumbing subcode, the electrical subcode, 1 building inspector, and the construction official. The zoning and planning, the zoning officer, and we have a vacancy on this assistant zoning officer for probably the same reason, budget issues.
Mhm.
With the previous zoning officer retired a few years ago, then Rodolfo Rodriguez was the assistant zoning officer. He took the classes and passed the test and became the zoning officer for the city. But we have not had an assistant zoning officer, and this is something that hopefully, by this year we will probably try to get someone for many reasons. The workload is a lot for one person,
Mhm.
and also when that person takes vacation, it
Difficult.
put us in behind the 8 ball.
Mhm.
Sometimes Rodolfo has to take his computer to try to process things while he's on vacation. That's not fair. But we got to do what we got to do in the meantime to be able to provide the best service we could in the Department of Code Enforcement. Code enforcement by numbers. We put the numbers from 2025 and 2026. Obviously, you see the UCC permits issued in 2025 was 119, in 2026 563. But remember, we're in the middle of the year. We still have what is it, 4 more months to go. If we go to permits collected, last year we collected $485,000, and right now we have over $1 million on collected fees. UCC inspection, 3,129 in 2025. 2026, as of right now, 1,493. Housing inspections, 5,909 in 2025. In 2026, so far, 2,753. Housing complaints, 364 in 2025, 180 as a 180 as a 2026. And housing summons issued, 342, in 2026, 170.
Mr. Lozada, what is the most common summons that are issued, in our community?
I
What
would
is the reason?
say rubbish, high grass, and we get a lot of illegal housing complaint, but not every complaint that we get we have or we find illegal housing. So I would say the more common summons is for the garbage and rubbish and the
People
debris.
not taking care of their
Yes,
their property.
yes. So this is a big accomplishment for the department. There's 3 big projects there. 585 Sir Avenue. They have 117 rental units. Just remember, this was done from scratch. So this is inspected by all of our subcode guys. This investment, it was around $31 million, and permit fees collected by the Department of Code Enforcement $153,000. for that project. Also, 555 Market Street, right? We were there yesterday. This is a project that might be 1 billion projected invested on this project. We already collected $374,000 as of right now, and developer fee $1.11 million that we collected. 1160 State Street, the warehouse upgrade, permit fees collected $77,000. So if you see around the city, there is a lot of construction happening now, and obviously you guys know what's coming. You know, Riverview, the old police department. We have 2 projects, one on Washington Street, one on Barclay Street. So for the future, we're going to be very busy. So what's changing because of this construction, of a lot of construction activity that are happening, or it's been happening since 2021. Permit revenue, the department is obviously collecting a lot of revenue on permits. Inspection workload, the same reason why, you know, there's a lot of construction. We have a lot of work for the inspectors. You know, and I have to tell you, we have 16 employees in code enforcement, and we have I would say around maybe 20,000 properties right now. And if you divide that, we are very busy. And obviously, code enforcement and police department usually get, you know, blame, or they put stuff on social media when, you know, they usually put negativity when the reality is other things, because you could see the numbers.
So I was going to ask, I see that you guys are very busy and I see that there are more projects obviously coming along the way. Do you feel that the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inspectors that you have, do you feel like that is sufficient?
Not really, but the good thing is that they're all UCC inspector, Uniform Construction Code,
Mhm.
and that department is their budget's aside from the city budget. So it's like a fire prevention. Whatever comes in, it goes out from that department. So right now we're in the process of interviewing other inspectors because there's some inspectors that are planning to retire, and we want to make sure we do it ahead of the game because for the next, I would say, 5 to 10 years, we're going to be very busy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And their salary, it has nothing to do with the main budget. It has to do with UCC budget. That's a good thing for the city.
Okay.
Do they have to have,
License.
and this is
State license,
licenses?
yes.
State license?
Yes.
and-
Yes. It's not easy to find because of the requirements, and also most of them been working for another city for a very long time, and you know
They don't leave.
they usually don't
Don't
try to
change.
change. And you do have some that work part-time in one city and full-time in another city. It's very common
Mhm.
in the UCC field. Yeah.
Is there, and I haven't really looked much at what got provided in that area, but is there a lot of continuing education in your department, or?
All the time, like especially for them, because the law changes all the time throughout the state, so they have to, you
To
know,
keep
obviously
up.
keep up with that.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. The proposed budget, my budget, obviously, you could see my numbers don't change much. We have a very small staff, and because of, you know, I really don't ask too much. We do a lot with less. I gotta tell you, my guys, every time I see something out there about code enforcement, you know, I know 90% of the time people lie. There's things that are truth, right? Things that happens and we probably don't see it. But I believe that's why we have an open door policy. Reaching out to the department is the best way to do it because I'm not friends with everybody on Facebook, so I don't know what you put on Facebook. But you know, it is what it is. I guess it's what people like to do to get attention.
So on that note, how are complaints tracked? Like how do you guys keep track of the complaints and how they are addressed?
In the system, we have an SDL. Once we get a complaint, we put the complaint in the system and it's assigned to one of the inspector, one of the housing inspector, depends what type of complaint. If it's construction, then it goes to the building department. And if it's for property maintenance or illegal housing or for garbage, rubbish, or high grass, then it goes to the housing department. And then it's assigned to one of the inspector. We have 6 area in the city, and you know we try to work with 4 inspector for 6 area,
Mhm.
and we just keep pushing. Yeah.
Okay.
So key budget drivers. So I just spoke about the personnel staffing, development activity, field operation, and staffing capacity. When it gets to the right time after the budget passed, I'm gonna have a conversation with the administration. We already spoke to Mr. Crine about trying to hire a few more inspectors, and we're working on that right now. 2026 operational needs. We're going to the same thing, right? Staffing, field operation, technology, case management, and training compliance. We're pretty good with the technology side. All the inspectors have their, you know, SDL system, their cars, phones. That's how we be able to go to the field and upload stuff in the system, and we are pretty good with the technology.
And everybody feel comfortable using it?
Yes, and so once a year we have to take a class. There's a lot of things that change it, so to be able to be updated. And looking ahead, a lot of construction in the city. So we're gonna be, you know, very busy, but we do it very proudly. There's a lot of development, construction, housing, property conditions, zoning, land use, and long-term staffing and technologies. So this is my presentation. You guys have any question? I'm here to answer any.
I just have a comment. This time, you know, when I was doing campaigning, I noticed a lot of construction has been done to houses. The houses have been remodeled and stuff. I noticed that a lot of that is going on in the city, which really helps the city looks.
So if you see the numbers, right, that I just show about the fees, so there's a lot of constructions happening in the city. Big projects and also small project. People wants to be able to upgrade their houses and maintain their property. But you know, I got to give the credit to department, the code enforcement, all the employees, and also to the resident that once you see your neighbor trying to fix something, you want to do the same thing, right?
That's true. Yep.
It's very common.
Yeah. Well, anyone
you.
has a
You're welcome.
question?
No, I'm good.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well
Thank
done to the
you.
staff.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks to your department for everything they
Yes.
do.
We
Thank you.
appreciate you and the.
Madam President, can we just take a 5-minute break real quick?
Huh?
Can we take a 5-minute break?
What's up? Yep.
Oh, okay.
Why you need a break?
Well, I got up before, but I'm saying maybe, you know. somebody-
All right.
Yeah,
We're
5
just gonna
minutes.
take
Just
5 minutes. You can start getting ready, Diane, and then we'll just give, so they can stretch
Yeah.
their legs and everything.
Okay.
Feel okay? You know, I'm gonna go.
We need a coffee machine here.
Hey, I was just looking out for all the people up here. Who are you talking about? Wait,
Oh,
we have to
now
wait,
he
wait
is.
for Mr. Cryan.
Testing 1, 2. Well, good afternoon. Should I wait till the?
Hold on. I don't know if he
Yeah, we
had
have-
something to introduce you,
I think he's it.
to say something. Hi, that hurt. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we have the Department of Human Services, Diane Roman and Kenny Ortiz are here to present. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the City Council. Good afternoon. On behalf of the Department of Human Services and the entire Department of Human Services family, including all of our employees within the 4 sections of our program, it is a pleasure to be able to stand before you or sit before you to present our 2026 budget. A department of 19 full-time employees, approximately 10 part-time employees, and a number of seasonal employees during any given season. It is amazing the work that we do collaborative together. I think that although we all have our own perspective, expertise when it comes to service, which is what we do each and every day that we walk into our working spaces, we roll up our sleeves and no job is too little or too small. Or too big for that matter. Starting off with the Office on Aging. The Office on Aging serves residents 60 years of age and older, although the government, the federal government doesn't consider you a senior until you're 62 and older. We do go by the guidelines of the county and we serve 60 and older residents. We've been getting recently a lot of baby boomers, and on any given day, you will find approximately 70 to 80 city residents that join us for daily activity. Now, we do not only serve seniors that come to our community service center every day, we also have the responsibility to work directly with some of our senior buildings and bring programming to those spaces, because some seniors consider themselves more actively engaged, or they may go to a medical day program, but we still want to make sure that we provide them the opportunity to connect and to be viable, and whether it's an exercise program or a activity that we bring with one of our partners, one of our nonprofit partners, we try to bring programming because we do have a responsibility to serve seniors in the city, not just those that walk or make the AJ stand their home on a daily or weekly basis. And we provide an array number of services, from transportation to exercise class to technology programming, to keep them actively engaged. And I can tell you that if you see, and many of you have seen through our social media ways, our seniors are maintaining themselves very active.
I
And
want to do Zumba because I saw them doing Zumba in a different way that I know it.
yeah, well, you're welcome any time to join us, anybody here, because I think that people don't realize that a person who is, 60 plus, they are living life to the fullest when they come in. Because of that, we've had a great number of individuals. Since Ismar became the director, we've seen a growth in the attendance on a daily basis, and kudos to her and
That's
her
amazing.
her intuition.
She's been
She's
doing
an amazing young lady. She connects
Great
well
asset.
with the people that we're serving, and she understands that they're not little kids, and they're still there's a lot of life to be had. And so now moving along to the Department of Housing and Social Services, we work with all of our nonprofits. We work with all of our houses of worship, our food pantries, our learning institutions. Whenever the city is hosting or whenever that office is hosting a program, we also make sure that we bring all of our other partners to the table. One thing that we want to make sure is that if we have a career fair, we have or we have a housing expo, we work with a core of about 8 or 9 nonprofits in the city, because everyone brings their clientele. They're people that they will trust the WIC agency, or they'll trust the housing authority sometimes better than they might trust government. But if they invite some and everybody brings their own, we're covering a much larger scope of residents in the city. And so we do that in many, many of the programs that we do. And because of that, I think we're also successful. But it's also important to meet residents where they're at. So bringing programming to different sectors of the city, different neighborhoods is also important. And so connecting with the houses of worship that are in those spaces makes it easier for us to make sure that the community feels like, it is they're welcome to join us. So we do a lot of that program. I want to just mention something real quickly. Code Blue is a program that we were successful in securing a grant last year of close to $175,000 from the county Department of Community Services, and we subcontract with the YMCA. We do work with the police department. They're a great partner for us. And we have staff in my office also that, they roll up their sleeve. We do put linens. We actually hired local businesses to provide meals. So we pay local businesses. We try to keep the business in the city. Our laundering services are done by a local laundromat. So we want, in that process, we're also supporting local business by encouraging and supporting them. And many times they go above and beyond. This past year, we've had a lot of houses of worship that wanted to make meals. During snowstorms, we had a city resident that walked from Smith Street to bring homemade soup for our 18 individuals that we're housing. So when you're doing something good, people, and we do a lot of promotion. It is posted all the time, the work that we do through the mayor's page and the social media announcements that are done through the Office of Emergency Management, thanks to Chief Catano and all his officers that help us out as well, because we do hire jobs through Jobs for Blue, an officer to stay overnight to make sure that everyone is safe. And kudos to the YMCA, because without them, we would not be able to have the manpower to be able to do that. I know that Kenny used to run with volunteers when we initially started, because we weren't getting the funding through the county at that time. And every year, we're probably one of the highest. Last year we had over 1,911 guests that came through our doors. And so, that obviously there's individuals that those aren't the spaces they want to be in, but we were able to provide that. And many municipalities may not be in compliance. I'm proud that we do the best of our ability. And as a result of that, I've been able to, in addition to the money that we get through our grants, I got a local construction company, give me $1,500 for new coats. I got another company to give me $1,500 for shoes. So all of our guests got new coats and brand new shoes. So that's besides. Why? Because when you include people in the process, it makes them feel good. Like, you give a little, we could change things if everyone puts, a grain. So, those are good relationships. And I try to protect the people that we serve, but I did send them pictures of like the back of individuals putting on the coats or trying on the shoes. And they're like, count on me next year. So those are the kinds of things that makes us different than someone else. You know what I mean? And I'm proud of that. And thanks to the Y and everybody else that, puts their part to make it happen. The Office of Recreation, I can't, we do 165 programs, doesn't do justice to the lives that we're changing through recreational programming. That also includes the arts program, the many grants. I want to let Kenny talk a little bit about some of that things, because I think that it is, when you think about the many relationships that you're able to garner, that you're able to get people to trust to give you money, close to $902,000 from grants that the city was able to receive through different foundations. You're talking about, major league institutions that are investing dollars on our young people. That is amazing. You know what I mean? And Kenny, I can't even speak enough about the heart he has for the work he does, because he's contagious. You know what I mean? He'll be like, he'll make you like
Keep going.
make it funny, but he makes a difference. You know what I mean? He makes a difference in everything that he does. But 165 plus program doesn't do justice, to the work that is being done there, and things that are being done that people don't even know about, but they're impacting the young people and their families, because you're seeing. This past year, we also received, a family empowerment program grant that has been amazing, connecting families, bringing families to talk to each other, to have dinner together, run by some of our young people. So Leslie is key, and we have staff members from the recreation department that are engaged in that. Um, so it's creating and being creative with the team names that you have, and also putting them to test other skills that they have. So that we're not making, we have employees and team members that are just not one note. Everybody, understands, our purpose. Our Office of Vital Statistics, this year with the retirement of one of our staff members, we were able to hire a new deputy who came in earlier this year, Dawn Stevens, and she's been supportive to the team. So now that is at 4, which is so much easier when somebody's on vacation or somebody's out. We don't shorten that department because I'm going to talk a little bit about the numbers, but it is incredible the amount of work that is coming out of Vital Statistics, and that is a revenue generating department. So you look at their budgetary, I'll talk about that, but that department is generating money. One, because we're a birthing center, number of increases in marriages, et cetera. So there's a lot of activity within the 4 team members that we have, and they're all full-time team members. Real quickly, regarding last year, this is something that we were able to be supported by the Office of Assemblywoman Lopez and Speaker Coughlin. We had staff members trained on how to complete the PSA 1 applications, and that is the tax freeze, the anchor, and the Stay NJ program. And last year, we completed through primarily 170 applications, which yield a total of $210,000 that seniors receive back. Amazing. Today, as of July 28th, we've completed 70 applications, and we still have August, September, because it's up to October 30th, the deadline. So we know that we are going to surpass that. That's helping our seniors. And so that's something that we're proud of because, yes, as expenses go up, how can we level out the field, especially for those whose income restricted, is much more challenging, especially if you're a senior who own a home, have maintenance issues, that, creep up on you when you have older properties, and so forth. So there's a lot of good things that are happening in our departments. 69,000 plus meals that are, served. We have one key person, Alyssa Kennedy, who leads those charts. Last year, we were recognized by the Department of Agriculture and the state for having an amazing program. Yes, it is very tedious, but we have, great leadership in that department that is able to execute and make sure that we are, following our cues, so that make sure that come reporting time, we are coming correct and our evaluations are well prepared and presented.
How does that happen? The summer meals, they have to come to you or and apply? Is that or
For the summer
register?
lunch program,
Uh-huh.
I'll let Kenny
Register?
talk a little bit about that.
Summer lunch program is sponsored, of course, through the USDA and the New Jersey Department of Agriculture. So basically, we're the sponsor for Perth Amboy and some surrounding municipalities. So what happens is that organizations who are running programs that serve youth that are in school up to 18 years old, they apply and they jump on board with us. And then we deliver the meals. Our actual provider of the meals is a school district.
Okay.
So I believe in May of this year, there was a contract that was signed by the governing body or approved by the governing body and signed by the administration for us to use the school district as a vendor. Why was that important? Because in the past, we used to use outside vendors that used to deliver meals in a truck coming from Tom's River or wherever, and the quality of the meals weren't to the standard that we liked. We partner with the Board of Ed, so every child that's in a school program, in a school setting, is getting a warm meal, breakfast and lunch.
Wow.
And the school district is our vendor, but our biggest consumer. We do the administrative part of it in the summertime. So it kind of gives their nutrition department a break where we take that over. But then in turn, they also service all of our sites and the YMCA and a few churches that are running programs. That money not only covers their contract with their employees and the food, it also offsets the cost of employees in our department and offset the cost of the summer staff that we have to hire to deliver, do the oversight, and things of that nature. So it's been a fruitful program for us. Actually, our numbers were higher in the past, but now other organizations in town have jumped on with the New Jersey Department of Agriculture and are doing it themselves, which they've built the capacity within themselves to do that. So, and that's an added plus, right? Because now they can manage it and they can pick what food they prefer and things of that nature.
That's great.
Yeah. And just real quickly, so to give you an idea, when you talk about numbers, aging has provided over 15,000 one-way duplicated transportation rides to seniors in 2025, 100 plus special programs that also includes outside and socialization programming, over 50 plus health and wellness initiatives, over 40 community outreach events, the Office of Housing and Social Services, 300 and plus rent control information assistance sessions. That means contact either via email and or walk-ins to our office or phone calls, inquiring about rent control. And, what is the city's policy regarding that? We try to walk both landlords and tenants because the city employees, we serve both. We have to be kind of neutral. So the same way that we would provide guidance to a tenant, we will provide the same guidance and courtesy to property owners. We want good property owners. We want people to be in compliance. And we work directly also with the Office of Code Enforcement. If anyone contacts our office, has a complaint or a concern, we make those referrals over to Code Enforcement in order to work together because obviously we're both serving the same population. Over 429 municipal IDs, over 85 community outreach events. That means that when there's a fair, whether it's being hosted by the city or one of our partners, we want to have a presence there. The city should always have a presence to the best of our ability, obviously working within the constraints of our budget, to be able to have a presence so people feel like they're not in an island by themselves. The city's walking the path and walking the journey along with them. And if we can bring some of our resources, anything that can do to support that initiative or level it up, we want to make sure that we have, a footing there. Also, we at our last employment fair yield about 436 participants. Our housing expo, 98 home seekers. We're getting ready to have this fall a housing expo specifically for renters because we understand not everyone is ready to purchase at this time. But we want to educate our renters. We want to provide them with tools to know what is the rent control, what are their rights. Rent insurance, rental insurance is one of the biggest challenges. Whenever we have a fire, and Chief Mullen talked about fire, I think in the last fire that we had, I think a couple people had it only because the landlord was putting it in their lease that is strongly recommended. Some landlords will encourage it, which is honestly something that, we serve humble people. Our people have a fire, they can't replace things. We work hand in hand, and I'll tell you, that the Red Cross, and we honor them here, we recognize their efforts here one time, but they will tell you that the way we work, we don't leave our people behind. Whenever there's a fire and people are sleeping, residents are sleeping, but there's somebody from Human Services that is there. We don't leave our people alone. We have to open up. Yes, we work with police department, and fire chief will tell you, our relocation officer, we're on call 24/7. So even on Christmas, Thanksgiving, we're working not only Code Blue, but there's a presence. We don't leave our residents alone. While other municipalities will open up a place for you, keep them warm or do your thing and then leave. We don't do that. We don't do that. I'm proud of that, So the other thing, and the 72 fairs that we've attended last year, whether it was a health fair or an event that one of our partners had, again, we want to work with them and all of our nonprofits. We also work very closely with our food pantries. We received some support from the county, and we're getting ready to do a food pantry mapping that we'll be working with the mayor's office to be able to put that on our website. So people at any time will be able to access what part of the city has a food pantry that is open. There are some people that have specific diets. We have some people that are vegetarians. So that mapping, they'll be able to go in our city and we'll see which ones are open, what days of the week, which ones may have dairy products. So we're working with the county to provide us with that tool free of charge so that we'll have that access, on the hands. And we'll do something like specialized marketing for that, so residents in dual language will understand that they can access food, through our city website or know where those locations are at in a user-friendly format. Again, some of these things I touched upon, some of these programs when it comes to aging, our housing services, recreation, vital statistics. I want to make sure that I do provide some space for Kenny to talk a little bit about some of the programming, specialized programming that has been able to happen because of the availability of the Brenda and Eddie Trujillo Center, who's really sparked a whole new component of recreational program, including a new STEM program, arts, and working with some of our partners in scouting. Kenny, can you just elaborate? Because I think
Sure.
that deserves a little bit of
No, definitely. And first of all, I want to thank Diane because just to give you a little bit of background, I started working with the city in 1998 when I was fairly young, along with Diane. And I actually worked. I was telling Mr. Crime before. I actually worked for Diane at that time. I was a computer instructor for seniors, and then we reversed roles at one point for like 12 years. I became director of human services, and Diane worked with me alongside me as in a number of capacities. And now we've flipped roles again. But I think our philosophy is because Diane and I have seen some very lean times. And within municipal government, one of the first places that is looked to be cut is social services. Our Department of Human Services, and there's been times where our budgets were very, very lean. But I think from what you guys can hear today is that a little different from the other departments, we are making an investment in people. It's not all about dollars because we have to invest a number of hours with people, whether they come in at a newborn for a birth certificate, whether it's for a recreational program, it's for housing, it's for aging. We run the gamut of services for city residents. And sometimes those people, we're guiding them through from the time they were newborns to the time they're adults. So it's that investment, and our philosophy is always be fearful that your budget's gonna get cut. And why be fearful? Because if your budget gets cut, then you're making less of an impact on those people that need you the most. So that's why we try to maximize every dollar that we get. Like, it's not like we try to spend every penny that's in the kitty, but what we try to do is create these partnerships so that we're able to expand programming without having to depend on our municipal budget. Because we know we live in a city, and there's the people that we serve, looking at the data, don't have the disposable income. And that reflects on like the pricing of recreational programs. Many of the recreation programs are free, or they're a nominal fee compared to some of our neighboring cities or towns. But what we're really looking to do is really invest in people. And that's why we do mental health workshops for young people and for adults. We do drug and alcohol prevention education. We do internships. We just expanded our internship program this summer, where we're taking 20 at-risk students from around the district and partnering them with mentors throughout the city. And they're getting paid to be an intern, but they're also getting life skills and anger management and things of that nature, because it's the investment in the person, right? One of the key drivers for recreation is that we reduce delinquency, right, within our young people. Mr. Puccio, Councilman Puccio, can tell you through his many years how many young people he's come in contact with, where he's had to intervene as a counselor. And sometimes you make that impact, and sometimes it just doesn't happen. So we're trying to make a bigger impact, but trying to also be cognizant of the fact that we need to understand that we can't depend solely on the taxpayer. And that being said, we run the Municipal Alliance Program, which oversees the opioid settlement funds, which we work with the police department and fire department to get their officers and firefighters trained on opioid response, which typically you would think that why is the recreation department doing that? But it's because it's a portion of the Municipal Alliance Program. When we talk about the Eddie and Brenda Trujillo Foundation, we utilize their space for STEM for young ladies, because a lot of time our young ladies are left out because there's not enough opportunities for our young ladies, which we definitely need to make more of an effort to open up doors for them. We have a scouting program, we have our boxing program, and those are just things that we're trying to engage young people. It's not about making them professional boxers. It's about getting them engaged and making sure that we get them on the right path to be a model citizen, right? Because many of our young people are at risk. And that's a term that's used very loosely, but we understand what is an at-risk youth? Someone who doesn't have access to education, doesn't have access to a good income, and their environment that they're in. So there's a number of factors that we're trying to really address. But I can tell you, I think our philosophy within human services as a whole is that we're treating each and every person with the proper respect of giving them time to hear what their issues are so that we can address the family unit. Not just, they play T-ball, but that young parent may need rental assistance where we pivot and we send them to another agency or we take it within our department. If they have a grandmother that's home, because many of our grandparents are the caretakers for our kids and they need resources as well. So we deal with a number of issues, and then what the great thing is our partnership with the Puerto Rican Association, with the Jewish Renaissance Foundation, with the school district, with the county. The county's poured in over $130,000 in just programming for us. And then we apply for every dollar there is. Sometimes I'm kind of fearful that Jill's gonna say, like, why are we applying for this? Like, another $1,000, but that $1,000 can make a little difference in that program. And you might see in the council agenda, there's like 4 or 5 grants that we're applying for, but we're trying to just expand programming. And I think it's very important to understand that as we continue to invest in our people, they're going to do better for themselves and they're going to be able to contribute more to our community.
Exactly. That's what I was just going to say, that you say that you don't bring money to the city, but indirectly you do, because preparing the youth to become a better person, to go out there and do. How many of your kids have become police officer, have become went to school, became a great leader in some areas, and that is bringing to the city.
What's been the difference, I think, over time is that our recreation department has become a pipeline to fill in gaps in city government positions, because we're now finding we got kids that are accountants that want to go to criminal justice, and we have a number of firefighters, police officers, people that are working within the administration that are leading these programs now, but they were participants in our program. So they kind of have a relationship already. So it makes it a lot easier to to get them into the way we do things.
It's funny because I remember when our purchasing agent was my daughter's camp counselor for MAPS. And to have seen her, graduate college and be where she's at today, those are those real shocker moments. So it's interesting. Thank you,
I
Kenny.
just wanted to touch on one
go ahead.
last thing, and not to to belabor the point. One of the things I think this administration needs to be really acknowledged for is the investment in our facilities. As you know, we're going to be opening up a brand new facility for the youth complex that it's approaching $15 million, and what's coming out of the city's capital fund is $1.2 million. All the rest was grant funding and through development agreements that were done. So
Great job.
it is, and I could be honest with you, I was at one point in my career, I was thrust into this position of facilitating these construction projects. And it was a daunting task because it wasn't my background. But what we do have is we have a great team of people that come together, and we're really enhancing our facilities a little bit every year. Of course, Tashi Vasquez from director of OECD, Matthew Neves, Danny Cleaver, Jill Goldie on the finance side and her team, because this is not easy when you're dealing with that amount of money and it's coming from different sources. You really have to be on point, because honestly, you may lose some funding if you don't report it right or you don't utilize it right. But as you can see, there's a number of parks. Our park system is going to be incredible in the next couple of years, with Borinquin Park, Rounded River Park, with the youth complex, with the new passive recreation site that we just announced again yesterday. Some of our older sites are getting redone as well. Why is it important to do these things? But now, because it gives kids who don't have that disposable income places to go, right? And to do something in a safe environment, both safe for themselves personally and physically safe. So, we must acknowledge that, the administration has done a good job of focusing in on that, and our park system is going to be very vibrant for years to come.
Thank you. I just wanted to also just, before I move on to the next slide, just also recognize the work and efforts of our registrar, Lourdes, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here today, but Lourdes Ruiz has been doing an amazing job upon her taking over the position of retiree Mr. Troch. I just wanted to real quickly just share with you, in 2025, we processed 3,878 birth certificates that were issued, 1,208 marriage licenses, 578, marriage certificates issued. Marriage license 578. That's a lot of weddings taking place in the city. 386 food licenses issued, 365 health inspections conducted. So just kind of wanted to share, like, this is real tangible work that is happening every day through the Office of Vital Statistics. We kind of mentioned some of these things. This is our programmatic budget for 121,517. We talked upon the $1.170 million. The majority of that is through recreational programming. We do have a list of different specialized programs that encompasses. Out of that, 173 or so is from the grant that we get from the county to run Code Blue. The Office on Aging gets about 38,000 or so dollars from the county to run some senior program. That means technology grant, socialization grant, transportation grant. Although I always keep knocking for more money for transportation because we're transporting a lot of people, and I'm going to keep knocking on that door. But the county also gives us, every month they're bringing an art group. Like you're talking about, we just had Native Americans. We have like tap dancers. They're bringing somebody every time that, yes, you know what I mean? Creative, artistic. For Chinese New Year, we had a beautiful cultural Chinese performance. Those are dollars. If we had to, quantify that here, that's over $10,000 of art programs that our seniors are getting. And the great things, and we're exposing our seniors to value different cultures. We had a beautiful Irish band that came, and the seniors were just like, dancing, and they were just joyful, you know what I mean? So those are great things that are taking place thanks to the county for helping us. But the majority of those dollars come from supporting partnerships that Kenny's been able to garner from relationship with all the lieu of entities, but they're for specialized programs. So he touched upon the opioid grant. That's dollars that are specifically, that's 400 and something, almost $500,000 that are going towards that program. The 200,000 plus dollars that are going towards our nutrition program over the summer, our summer lunch program. So there's a specified list for that. This is what we just kind of talked about, the proposed budget. Yeah. Key budget drivers, obviously, personnel is a given, although, we are only at 819. We are going to be also, hopefully I'm going to be providing this information to Ms. O'Crian. We are going to be working with the Rutgers School of Social Work to bring in some Practicum students to be able to work on some Office on Aging programming and also on some housing issues for us, helping us to build and write some prospective policy to be able to introduce to the administration for their consideration to help improve some of the things that we do within the housing component. So, but we're going to be working with graduate students for that work, and that's the way that we can bring talented individuals to the table and be able to provide that support to some of our departments. Meeting and demands of the senior programs. I do want to just also make sure that I mention that thanks to the council and the governing body, this year we were able to get a brand new 24-passenger senior bus. Last year we had a 20-passenger. Right now we have 5 vehicles available to us, which is good because if we have a local trip, we don't have to waste the gas on a larger vehicle. We could use some of our smaller buses. So if we're doing medical transportation during the day, where we're only maybe transporting 3 or 4 seniors to Hackensack Meridian, that's another great partnership that we have with Hackensack Meridian. I belong to an advisory committee in the hospital, and that's so important to be able to have a presence at the tables of these opportunities, because through that, I was able to get one of my team members to be able to belong to a committee that approves rental assistance. So when we know we have a fire victim, we know, okay, so-and-so who's in that committee, look out for this, although you kind of have to be impartial, but they can advocate for some of those situations. When we just had the fire, talked about the fire that we just had, the unfortunate happening of the loss of a child, we were able to help. I mean, we had a fair to help those 10 families. We work with some of our nonprofit agencies that provided them with monies, but we work very much closely with Hackensack Meridian to provide them with rental assistance because they weren't able to go back to those units. So it's great to be able to establish these relationships that keeps us, relevant at all those spaces that we may not be able to always have any ear on. But I just wanted to mention some of those accomplishments by Vital Statistics, also some of these key pointers, operational needs. Personnel, that's why I mentioned about the partnership with Rutgers, because that's another way to bring in talented people or people that can help us, in the meantime. I think that we are creative, even the staff in my office. We have to set up for Code Blue. We're putting on gloves, we're putting new linens. We put new linens every couple days, put out water, go buy things to make sure that we're in compliance and we're ready to receive our guests come time. Looking ahead, yes, aging population services, there's a much more to demand because, eventually I feel like we're going to grow out of our facility. The biggest issue challenge right now is the lack of parking that we have at the Jankowski Community Center. We could be creative. I mean, we have 5 vehicles. Maybe we swap around, maybe place some of those 3 vehicles elsewhere so that we could allow, if we're having some special programs that we may move them temporarily to maybe the Elm Street site during the evening program. If we're having something at the Jankowski Center, we did that last year a couple times whenever we were expecting a big program to take place. Housing residents, I mentioned we have to really this is one of the things that I definitely mentioned to the mayor that I would like to work on is a campaign to make renters aware of the importance of renters insurance. Because you mention it to somebody, they quickly says, oh, we can't afford it. But you can easily, $10, $15. Obviously, it depends on the value that you put on your your goods, but it's doable. You just have to grain it into people. Youth and recreational program, I think that we offer for such a small staff, the number of programs, really supersedes. And that's not including probably programs that Kenny does with supporting other, nonprofit agencies that have sporting events. And Kenny goes out and tries to say, okay, well, we can't do everything, but we'll help you in this task, or we'll help you with some equipment or so forth, or maybe uniforms or whatever the case may be. So any questions?
Great information. And that is a reflection of everything that our city is doing for our residents. I think is amazing of everything that your department does for our residents.
You're welcome. And I thank all of you for supporting, Human Services, for making yourselves available for, some of the events that we have. We always have a presence. Many times we always have a presence from, council members, especially like some of our larger programs, our Easter festivities. We always have a presence, some of our walks. And that's important. It's important to make sure that, you feel certainly welcome to this is, through your efforts and helping to move things on the agenda that support us. One thing last year that I think that really was special was when at the end of the day, we had a group of seniors do a parranda. And we went through various, we visited the Y. I wanted to make sure that, Isamar was in starting her maternity leave. And I was missing her like crazy. But we were able to bring the seniors to the fire department, the police department, the YMCA, here to City Hall, to close out the city, to just make sure that, all the work that we do is culminated by the celebration of the holidays and those things that bring us together as a community. So thank you so much for supporting Human Services, for supporting. We work hand in hand with every director that, works here. We are truly, here to support each other. And this is, I'm so proud that, we work very well with each other.
Thank
just
you
wanna make
to
a
the whole
comment.
department.
So I can't thank this department enough. I remember being a child and taking the little ballet classes and the tennis and the summer camps and just seeing like how much it has expanded thanks to your leadership. Is just amazing to see all the work that you guys do with what you have. And how many lives you do touch, because I know Kenny's constantly saying, we do everything that we do and we try to give back and, do what we can for these children in the hopes that, someday they grow up and they serve our community in to one capacity or another, right? Because it's important that we continue to give back. So I just want to say thank you again. I can't thank you guys enough for all that you do. I know it's a lot of work. I find myself calling these departments multiple times a year, to help someone within the community. But thank you again, because I have seen the growth. I've seen the expansion of programming. Everything that, your departments have to offer is just amazing, and for nothing, for nothing. So thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank
I
you.
also wanted to thank you as well, as Councilman Puccio had a full circle moment, as I also had a full circle moment. I started in the MAPS program, and I started under Kenny's leadership in high school volunteering. So thank you so much for pouring into, of course, both of you, into the seniors, into the youth, and giving opportunities, whether it's Rutgers Engineering Day, maybe their parents won't be able to take them. So thank you for all that you do in and out of your jobs, as you said, helping fire victims and helping those outside of what we don't see and what's not published. I know a lot more goes behind the scenes, so thank you both for your leadership and for your staff for stuff that we don't see, the unseen heroes. We appreciate you all.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. So, Council President, government is ultimately about serving people, and human services serves people from the start all the way up to the waning years of life, and they're doing an incredible job. So when you invest in this department, you're investing in our people. That's appreciated.
Thank you.
The next up is Matthew Nieves with Public Works, and
Thank you for being so patient.
Yes.
We saved the best for last.
My dogs are hungry at home right now. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Matthew Nieves. I am very proud to be the Director of Public Works, and I'm here to present our DPW budget. First off, Public Works is responsible for, many of the services our residents depend on every day, including sanitation, streets and roads, parks, city facilities, and the vehicles and equipment that support our operations. Our focus is straightforward. We provide those services reliably. We maintain the city public assets and respond when residents and departments need us. What do we do? Public Works touches almost every part of the city operations. Our employees collect solid waste. We maintain streets and public spaces. We care for parks and facilities. We keep our city vehicles and equipment operational. And we can't forget, we also support snow and storm responses. I want to touch on that. This year, we had an enormous amount of snow. Not inches, it was feet. As long as I've been working for Public Works, I've never encountered a winter like we had. I am very proud to say that our team did an exceptional job with the amount of snow that we had. I'm very proud to say that. Not only we took care of snow, there's a lot of city events, emergency operations, and I want to touch on emergency operations. A lot of the emergencies usually happen when most of us are sleeping. There's supposed to be a thunderstorm today, and the first thing I think about is our tree division, traffic signals, things of that nature that on occasion, emergencies happen. Whether there's a branch, a tree, a traffic signal getting knocked down, we're there. I'll get those phone calls. It could be midnight, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Get up, respond, get a supervisor on the line, and we respond immediately. We take a lot of pride in that because at the end of the day, we're serving the community and our residents, and it's our responsibility. So at the end of the day, we look at it as that. Um, by the numbers, so I won't go through every number on the screen, but I do want to highlight the scale of our operations. These figures represent services being delivered throughout the city every day, from our sanitation to our road and maintenance to facilities, parks, and of course our fleet operations. That workload is important context as we look at the resources needed to maintain these services. So I want to touch on a couple of those numbers. One of the things that I'm super proud about is road paving. Ever since our mayor took over, one of the things that he really stressed was having smoother roads, quality of life, things of that nature. This year, we're on pace to pave over 30 roads. I do have a list of a few of them that I do want to mention, just to give you guys an understanding of even some of the work that's going on. Some of the streets that have been completed this year: West Side, Johnstone, Penn, and from corner to corner, all the way from Eagle Avenue, all the way down to Washington. Every crosswalk has their ADA requirements. We're working, currently there's a company that started today on our Sadowski project. We have a parking lot that's going to provide parking for our residents. It's going to be over 70 parking spots right in our, in our waterfront area, right off of Sadowski. We're also going to be completing First Street, Madison Street, and High Street to complete that project. There's many other streets that have been paved, and there's others that are on the list for future, like Dorothy, which is right next to our youth complex. Kenny mentioned a beautiful and amazing accomplishment at our youth complex that's worth every penny. Once that actual project is completed, we're going to be paving, Dorothy Avenue and the actual parking lot to complete that entire project. I also want to recognize what the Public Works team has accomplished. Over the past year, our crews continue delivering our core services while supporting road and infrastructure improvements, maintaining our parks and public spaces, addressing facility needs, and supporting city events, and again, our emergency operations. We also continue our day-to-day work of maintaining our vehicles and equipment that our crews and other city operations depend on. I want to touch slightly on vehicle maintenance. Without our mechanics actually maintaining these vehicles and getting them on the road quickly and effectively, a lot of these things don't happen. We only have 2 mechanics that are sitting down and taking care of a lot of equipment. We do have a lot of aging equipment. I do want to thank the council. The last few years, we had the opportunity to purchase new garbage trucks, sweepers, new school truck, many different things that you guys have approved and gave us an opportunity to improve our fleet. But they do an amazing job on a day-to-day basis to assure, our operations are working smoothly. Some larger projects obviously involve engineering, contractors, and other departments. So I want to recognize those partnerships as well. Public Works plays an important role in supporting that work and maintaining those improvements once they are completed. Most importantly, I want to recognize our employees. Without the Department of Public Works and the employees, a lot of these things obviously don't happen. I want to thank my superintendents, my supervisors, and every employee at Public Works. Well, you know what? I want to touch on a few of these accomplishments. Where we're sitting at today, last year didn't look this way. This was completely renovated. There's a few other improvements at City Hall. Downstairs, our finance office was completely remodeled, reconstructed. Right next door, our OECD office was completely remodeled. And of course, I got to mention this, Council Chambers looks amazing corner to corner. What's changing? As we look ahead, the challenge is not simply maintaining today's services. Our infrastructure, facilities, vehicles, and equipment continue to age. At the same time, new improvements throughout the city eventually become assets that Public Works is responsible for maintaining. Some of those assets, of course, we have new new parks coming up. We have the Youth League that's gotten complete renovation. Rosengarten Park, Fayette Street Pocket Park. We have the Raritan River Park that's coming soon. Borinquenier in a few years to come. So a lot of those things come with maintenance, time, effort, employees, etc. But we look forward to all those accomplishments as well. All right. So the budget. The proposed budget for Public Works this year is approximately $9.8 million, and the key point here is that we remain essentially level compared with last year. Not just last year, I try to keep the budget pretty balanced for the last few years and try to be lean. I really try my best to stay in budget. Over the years, as you guys can see, I've been under budget. I've done a very good job in maintaining that. And at the end of the day, I'm asking for pretty much the same amount that I asked for last year. Salary and wages are approximately $4.6 million. The other expenses are approximately $5.1. Overall, the budget has decreased, not by much, but there is an approximate 0.1% decrease. I also want to put the $9.8 million into perspective. Our largest operation here at Public Works is solid waste. Just in disposal, getting rid of the garbage costs the city close to $2 million, just the disposal. Sanitation department alone takes approximately $4.6 million, which is close to half of the budget. $2.1 million goes into buildings and grounds and our facilities, and then streets and roads is approximately $1.25. That's just 3 out of our 6 divisions, and most of the money, about half of it, goes into solid waste. So the overall story is pretty simple. We're maintaining essentially the same level of spending while continuing to provide a very broad range of essential services. When we look behind those numbers, 4 areas drive the budget. Obviously, our workforce, with their contracted salary and wages. We have our sanitation and solid waste, infrastructure and maintenance, and our fleet and equipment. Our employees need reliable equipment to do their jobs. Our streets, parks, and facilities require ongoing maintenance, and sanitation is a daily service that has to operate consistently. Those are the core operations that needs reflected in this budget. So operational needs. Our priority operationally is reliability. We need to make sure we have the staffing to deliver services, that our sanitation operations continue without interruptions, that our vehicles and equipment are available when needed, and that we're maintaining our streets, facilities, parks, and other public assets. Preventative maintenance is an important part of that. One thing I could say is the preventative maintenance program that has been created at Public Works has helped us out tremendously. As I mentioned before, we have an aging amount of equipment that we have to take care of and assure that it's on the road, and these preventative maintenance programs help having these actual equipment on the road on a day-to-day basis. So again, I want to thank our mechanic shop for sitting down and not only creating that, but supporting it and actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. All right. So looking ahead, our focus has to be protecting the investments the city is making. As Perth Amboy improves roads, parks, facility, and other public spaces, those assets become part of our long-term maintenance responsibility. We also need to continue evaluating our fleet and equipment so replacement can be planned instead of waiting until something fails. Again, I want to thank you guys every year. Through our capital program, we're asking for more garbage trucks to pretty much keep up with the day-to-day work. We're asking for roll-offs and street sweepers, mini sweepers, et cetera, to keep up with times. So we definitely want to thank you, for supporting that and, giving us the opportunity to, do those things. Excuse me. The goal is to move towards a more planned approach, understand the condition of our assets, prioritize the greatest needs, and make responsible investments over time. So to close, Public Works is pretty much proposing approximately 9.8 million in our budget that remains essentially flat year over year, while continuing to provide the services our residents rely on every single day. Our responsibility is not only to keep the city operating today, it's also to maintain the roads, facilities, parks, vehicles, and other public assets the city is investing in for the future. I want to thank our Public Works employees for the work that they do every single day. Without them, this doesn't all happen. There are a couple other items I want to highlight from our clean communities. This year, we're on pace to complete another 20 community cleanups with our green team. We completed 7 county cleanups where our county comes in. There's a program through Rebuild New Jersey that they actually come out and they clean up county roads. We select the place, we give them the date and time, police worked with them for traffic control, and they actually come out. They came out 7 times this year so far to help us out. So far, we've completed 10 community cleanups, another 10 that are on their way. One thing that we did this year that was different, our police chief, our fire chief talked about education. We're in the schools now educating about recycling. A lot of people don't look at recycling as something so important, but the reality is that our landfills are, constantly being filled with items that are not biodegradable and shouldn't be there. So one of the things that we learned is you teach the kids, the kids teach their parents, and throughout that, it gives us the opportunity to not only educate, but show these kids the importance of recycling, community cleanups, and just engagement with these kids. What we learned is they love when we come to the school. We make it fun. I know recycling is, what's a bottle, a glass, and cardboard. But at the end of the day, if you educate and make it, a fun type of environment, they now understand what's the important about recycling. Recycling is big because it can get reused, doesn't have to go to the landfill and sit there. So at the end of the day, we've gone to 6 schools so far. There's another 3 schools we're going to visit for a total of 9. Our goal is to try to get into about 10 of these schools on a year-to-year basis. Today was our first year, and we've been successful so far. We've done 6, 3 more on their way, and I think it's important because our youth obviously becomes, a little bit older, and they're teaching other people, and one day they just might be sitting in one of these chairs, doing what we do. Besides that, if you guys have any questions, I'm open for it, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to present.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry for all the comments. So I wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying. So I actually experienced one of the community cleanups with the children and the presentation on recycling. And I have to say that it is amazing in, my program alone, how small it is and how it has impacted the children because they loved the community cleanup. They're asking me, when are we doing this again? I noticed the understanding of recycling. Now they're like, where do I put my water bottle, Miss Stacy? So it's important that we do educate the youth, the children, and believe it or not, at the age of 3, they understand these things. So thank you for, putting your thumb on that and impacting even like who would think Public Works is impacting children, but you are. So thank you again for that. I think it's really important that again we start to educate them because they educate their parents and so on and so on. And this will be a healthy habit to start from a young age. So thank you again for that, for all that you do for your team who does the work that others may not want to do, So thank you for that and for keeping, our community beautiful and clean and everything else.
Well, recycling is also important because it also helps reduce disposal,
Absolutely.
which would help decrease the amount of money that we do spend. So
Mhm.
educating them to recycle is very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I also wanted, I just wanted to ask you, I know that we were getting like some special trucks for the narrow, or maybe I'm wrong, but you were having a challenge
Yes.
with the automated
Yes.
on the narrow road.
I'm happy you brought that up. That was one of the things I wanted to highlight is our automation. And thank you for that. So right now in 2025, let me go over the list real quick because I actually put together a list of streets that are going to be added this year. So last year we had 15 streets added to our fully automated program for trash and recycling collection. One of the things I want to highlight about automation is that it brings down the cost of liability. The one-armed bandit, as some of us call it, or the side loader, is driven by one person. When I first started, there was three persons or three employees per truck, driver and two people physically picking up the garbage in the back. As times have changed, the automation has pretty much taken over, and it's pretty much a mechanical arm that comes out, grabs a garbage can, puts it inside the garbage truck, and there's minimal maintenance to it with hardly any liability. This year, we're trying to close out our final phase of our automation. We're looking to automate Catherine Street, Cortland, Charles, Elizabeth, Pulowski, Central, Gaddick, Valley, Lind, Chauncey, Parker, James, Huntington, Wayne, Hall Avenue from Catherine to State, and State Street from Pearl to Outer High Street. Those are the last streets that we have remaining in our fully automated program. We're actually waiting for a delivery of the new cans that are going to come in. You guys approved that in the last meeting. We're thankful for that. Once the cans come in, we're going to be pretty much fully automated throughout the entire city. Another thing I want to highlight, thanks to UEZ and BID, I don't know if you guys recognize, our street side containers now are all black. They look very sleek, very unique. Trash recycling. One side has the city emblem, the other side has our partner collaboration, which is UEZ. To me, they look different, but they're unique. I like the actual look of them. I don't know, they just have a little different look to it itself. But overall, our goal this year is to fully phase out our automation. To touch on the smaller streets, yes, we do have some one-ways. Central, Gaddick, Valley are some of the very tighter streets that we have, are very difficult to get in with an one-armed bandit. What we did with that, with your approval, you guys actually approved a rear-loading garbage truck that has the automation. They're called tippers. So there's going to be a driver, two individuals in the back that are going to roll the can, and there's an actual tipper in the back. They pull the lever. There's no physical actual component to it, but actually pulling this lever puts the the can inside the back of the packer, pack it, you roll the can back, and you're pretty much done. The concept behind all of that is I'm trying to reduce a liability. People getting hurt, workers' comp costs an extraordinary amount of money to the city. So if we find ways to minimize it, I mean, we can never eliminate it because there's always the possibility, but if we can minimize it by creating opportunities like this, I feel like it's my responsibility to do so. So that's what, to answer your question, we got these reloading garbage truck with the tippers where there's no actual physical attribute to it, just pulling a lever.
I have another question, Madam President, sorry. So I know that a lot of streets have been remodeled and fixed, last year, and new ones are being added this year. You just mentioned a few, but how does your department determine, which streets are being repaired or, capital improvements? How do you
Excellent question.
determine that?
I've been asked this before. So it's a team effort. It starts with pretty much the complaints that come in from our residents, our council, administration. We have professional engineers that pretty much assess a lot of these roads, our road superintendent, even our own employees. Our own employees are, they live in this town, they have their opinions. We take everybody's opinion very seriously. And we pretty much accumulate a team effort of, opinions, and we go and look at these roads, evaluate them, and we make a team decision on what we feel and believe is, priority-wise, what we should be doing. So that's how we pretty much select them. It's a team effort, and we go out there and pretty much try to get as many roads as we can done.
And you guys have done an exceptional job at, redoing the streets and all that stuff. So do you believe, honestly speaking, that the budget that you put forward is sufficient to continue, to help continue this progress with everything that you guys have and all these projects that are coming? Do you believe that that work will be able to continue with this budget?
Absolutely. One of the things that definitely helps us out, I got to bring up Tashi. Tashi helps us out with getting a lot of these grants. Every year I apply for, we apply for multiple grants, and a lot of these grants support approximately three streets at a time. These grants cover anywhere from $750,000 to, I've seen $1.2 million that, supports us. So one thing I do is I try to request money to fund what's remaining for that project. Perfect example, there's a cost estimate for, let's say, Penn, Johnstone, and West Side. Those were just completed. The cost estimate was approximately $2.3 million. The grant covered 1.2. My responsibility is to cover the remaining cost. So what I do is I try to project pretty much from the cost estimate to what it's going to cost for the overall project, and I try to get enough funding to support those three grants on a year-to-year basis. I've been doing it for the past 4 to 5 years successfully. I want to say that we will be able to do it again successfully in 2026 into 2027. So yes, to answer your question, what we are proposing is going to be more than efficient enough for us to sit down and be successful for the coming years.
And I think that it is important. It's unfortunate that people do not come to these meetings as much as I'd like them to, because I think that's important, that it's not just the tax money, but it's also the additional work that you guys do, the grants and all those things that help do everything that we do. So thank you, Ms. Vasquez, and everyone else who has a part in that and contributing so that all the other departments can continue to do their work. So thank you.
No, you're welcome. And it's a complete team effort. The one thing that I always say at work, teamwork makes the dream work. Without it, it just doesn't work. And one thing I want to say about this administration, I love working with everyone here. Everyone has that team player type of mentality. Where there's a phone call, everyone stops. They listen, help each other out. And I think that's important. I think it's super important to have a team that supports each other and find ways that if I don't have an answer, I may be calling someone. And they may have the answer to sit down and support and help a resident out. So teamwork is one thing that we live by at DPW. I live by outside of work, inside of work, but I always stress that. Teamwork, it makes the dream work.
Agreed.
And thank you so much.
Yeah, I really want to congratulate your team.
Thank you.
Your department. I think you have done a tremendous job, especially last year with the snow and everything it kept our citizens, our residents safe.
Yes.
And your department worked
Tirelessly.
yes. It is great to have people so dedicated to our city. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you to the staff and all of
Yes,
us. Because
absolutely.
It's a whole team.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you as well.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
And thank you for being patient.
Next year, Mr. Crine, I would like to go first. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. We'll make it happen.
Noted.
We will make it happen.
Mr. Bryan,
I-
you done?
Yeah, I think we're good, Council President. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, so let's continue with the agenda. Let me find it. Because we do have some things to take care of. All right, so we have resolutions. R-293-726, awarding bid to A3 Contracting for contracting services related to the home improvement program at 585 Penn Street and in an amount not to exceed $24,525. I need a motion.
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Cruz Batista?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peralta?
Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. R-294-726, awarding a bid to A3 Contracting for contracting services related to the home improvement program at 492 North Park Drive in an amount not to exceed $21,605. I need a motion.
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Cruz Batista?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peralta?
Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. R-295-726, awarding a bid to Pretty Clean Construction for contracting services related to the home improvement program at 539-541 Colgate Avenue in the amount not to exceed $22,700.
Move.
Second.
Councilwoman Cruz Batista?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morales?
Yes.
Councilwoman Peralta?
Yes.
Councilman Puccio?
Yes.
Council President Tejeda?
Yes. Public portion, 5 minutes maximum per speaker. I need a motion to open to the public.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Seeing none, I need a motion to close public portion.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, council comments. Councilwoman Cruz Batista.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for those who attended. Thank you, Iris, who's still here. And thank you for everyone else who attended as well. We thank our BA for an amazing presentation, the Office of the Mayor as well, and all his staff who worked hard, the directors, all the employees, the council for past approvals to help, an amazing job by each department, and that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman Morales, and welcome back.
Yes,
I feel
welcome.
better.
Yes, so I'm gonna make this short because I don't want to speak too much, but just thank you for everybody that came. Thank you, Mr. Cryan, for your hard work, Ms. Goldie, and the administration for putting this together and all the department heads. You know, this is a big job. This is a lot of work and, you know, we've come together to finally get this going and just thank you.
Councilwoman Peralta.
I just wanted to say good job to everyone who had a part in putting this budget together. It was very well presented, very well
Yes.
put together. You know, sometimes if you're not on this side, you don't understand all of the numbers and what everything means. I think that our directors did a great job at expressing what everything meant and where those funds go and how important they are. You know, sometimes we see a tax increase and everyone starts freaking out and gets nervous about it. But as you saw today, and this is not even everything, but this is a good chunk of it, you're able to see everything that's put into our community. I say our because we all live in it, right? So it doesn't just affect the residents, it also affects us. And so we see how important those numbers are and why and where it goes into. And I really do feel that we are all pouring back into our community, and that's an amazing thing. And that this community is led by people that genuinely care. I strongly believe that this administration and all the directors, everyone that had a part in this, genuinely cares and wants to do what's best for the community. So I just wanted to say thank you for all of your leadership, all that you do. And also a reminder, the National Night Out is this upcoming Tuesday.
Yes.
So have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Councilman Puccio, you're pretty quiet
I
today. You
am
scare me.
quiet.
Oh, it's a little scary.
I'm
Just
I'm
nervous.
saving it for the next meeting.
Okay.
Um, first of all, great job by the BA, an outstanding job along with Joe Goldie, the fire chief and the police chief and all the directors and Kenny Ortiz. I mean, and it goes without saying that Kenny is one of a kind.
Mhm.
We're lucky to have him working here in Perth Amboy. Shout out to my council mates, to the city clerk, to the chief of staff, and Tashi, and Irish for sticking down, and the city attorney who's been very quiet,
We never say.
He's always
you to-
quiet.
We never say thank you to
That
George,
technology-
too.
and George.
George.
So I'm good.
Thank you. I just want to thank the administration, every single department. And I know that we only saw a few departments present, but every single department, no matter how small that department is, I know they work very, very hard to make this budget be what it is. So everyone, I just want to know that we appreciate you and everything that you do every day for our citizen, for our resident, for our city. And we continue moving forward, and this is what we are elected to do. So thank you, and I need a motion to
Move.
adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Have a good night. It's
You too.
6:05.
Oh.
3 hours.
Right. Good job.